Oh, hello. Sorry about that. I definitely just had to run outside in the snow to go get my tea, and then it wasn't in my car. It's okay. How is everyone doing today? I did find it. It just was buried in my bag under stuff that I guess I didn't move enough or something. I don't know. Anyway, it's gonna be one of those mornings. That's fine. I played with some settings yesterday, and trying to fix. I've noticed on a lot of my streams I look like a ghost in the morning because when I open the curtain too much, it's like, I don't know, like it just like washes me out. But I think I adjusted it to where I can at least have the window halfway open, and I think I'm visible. So, and then I added the now playing list for your listening pleasure and your music education needs. So you can see what I'm playing down below at the bottom, I think. Let me know if that's not working. I looked into like a ton of fancy widgets and like all these ways to do interactive stuff, and I was just like, I don't have time to mess with this. It was like 10 p.m. So I just, we just went with this. So, how are you guys doing? Hey Maze, hey Legumcore, hey Raga. I love your little dancing emotes. So stinking cute. I love that. Is that axolotl? What is that? Oh, it's a sheep. Aw, it's so cute. I need to change my emote wall settings so you guys can emote spam and have them bounce everywhere. Because I like emotes. I'm sure some people think it's annoying, but I think emotes are great. I wish that Twitch would let me have more of them. Actually, I think sometime soon we're going to do an emote stream. So if anyone has any emotes they'd like to use in here, let me know. I think I'd kind of like to try animating too. I haven't animated anything since like 2015. So that'd be fun. Anyway, you're surviving. Are you still sick? Sorry if you're feeling bad. I hope that gets better for you. So today is going to be kind of a different stream. I was just doodling earlier. I found these descriptions of like the original like not original, but like early descriptions of like Eastern dragons and Western dragons and some symbolism and stuff. So I kind of wanted to play with some of these ideas. I spent some time looking at like historic depictions of dragons. So that was kind of a fun little history adventure I went on last night. Yeah, just kind of looking at some classical art. So I figured I wanted to shy away from, at least on stream, pulling up too much modern art on dragons. Like there's a few for sure, but I was looking more at like what would be considered like pop cultural interpretations, even like in history, right? Like what would have been the cultural understanding of what a dragon was. So I found some really neat sculptures and like old paintings and things and stuff from like all over, not just like China. But I think the most interesting thing I found was, I just wrote it down, but I found like I think it's what Lagumcore was talking about. It's like, what is the classical definition of an Eastern dragon? So that's here. And then I also have, we'll talk about that in just a second. I have some like famous dragons, right, from pop culture, but I kind of grabbed references of like the animals described that make up a, dragon in the East. And I figured we could, play around with that and maybe come up with a design. So we may be designing an Eastern dragon today just because I couldn't find like a super specific description of a Western dragon other than like a big lizard with wings. So we can definitely play with that one too. I did find, I'll show you guys the Western side, I did find this really old description of a dragon from the 1500s. This was kind of like, I don't know, it's just kind of a fun little poem to read. I can pull it up on screen here in a second. But lots of, classic medieval art of like St. George and the dragon and like just various ways artists in the past have drawn dragons in the West. And I don't know, I was actually kind of surprised by how similar they were in a lot of ways. I mean, they definitely don't have like the same, I don't know, like even this dragon has a lot of like Eastern qualities, even though it's a Western. You can't really see that one super well. It's probably not the best image. But yeah, I mean, here's like, your classic dragon. Then of course we've got, like modern pop culture dragons, right? I had to throw in a couple of these. So we'll just talk about like this one I thought was interesting from the Dragon Riders of Pern. There's a lot of dinosaur influence in Western dragons specifically, I think. So, because like I feel this is very pterodon to me. Yeah, so we'll talk about some of that when we get to the Western ones, but I just put in some of my favorite dragons, so you know, because I had to. But yeah, look at this crazy poem. I'm gonna leave this up for a second while I sip on my tea. We can read this, or I guess I could read it to you. I don't know. Do we want this to be like class, come class, come sit on the carpet. Let's read a book together. Call back to my elementary school teaching days. But yeah, this is what I'm thinking we'll do. So I'm gonna start with just kind of looking at some of these, maybe doing a few sketches. I guess I'll drop these references in Discord. So if anyone wants to look at these a little closer, it's just going to be an interesting one because we're not going to be doing what we've been doing. Like, I don't want to sit here and draw from each one of these necessarily, but I do want to, it's like practice for tomorrow, right? Like, we're going to pull inspiration from what culture, both past and present, has told us about what dragons are. And then you can go do your own research later today. If you want to pull some like cool dragon art that you like from artists that you admire and get inspired from them too, that's great. I was going to pull up like, you know, Monster Hunter dragons because you always talk about those amazing. I think they're awesome. And just, you know, Final Fantasy dragons, and like there's so many video game dragons, right? But that was just going to be too much. And I fall way too deep down the concept art hole. But yeah, let me catch up on chat really fast. Hope everyone's having a good morning, by the way. Thanks for joining. Feel free to get your sketchbooks out. Contemporary Western dragons are definitely dinosaur-inspired. See, that's what I thought too. I heard this theory, and I actually grabbed a dinosaur book because I want to talk about this later, but I heard a theory about dinosaurs and dragons. And then I was talking to Paleontologizing on his stream a while ago about it, and he said that was like probably not accurate, and I don't remember why, and he sounded convincing, but I'm still just like, I don't know. I feel like, anyway, we'll talk about that in a minute. But yeah, let me post these in Discord so you guys can look at them at your leisure. I'll post actually the large image files so you can read some of it, since there's a lot of reading going on here. Let's save this as a JPEG. Yep, that's fine. And then let's do the Eastern one. And then I will get the warm-up clock started here. Go to JPEG. Okay, cool. So I was just kind of right before stream just kind of doing a little doodling, so I'll probably erase that because I was just experimenting with what I was thinking about doing today. But yeah, if you want to do a Western or an Eastern, you could do it at your leisure. I'm going to start with one and then move to the other. But let me get these in Discord. Let's see. Spyro is so funny amongst the others. I know, but he's so cute. Spyro was like my childhood. I played that game so much. That was my introduction to platform games and just games in general. I think it was one of the first video games I was ever like, this is fun. Like, I'd played Mario at daycare and I just wasn't that interested. I was like, this is just, you're just walking and bouncing your head on stuff. Like, I'm bored. It only goes like flat. I don't know. I didn't like it as much as a lot of people did. Yeah, a lot of them are mishmash of animals for sure. Read it out loud. Okay, give me a second to finish my tea and post, and we'll have story time, guys. Gather around, get your tea, get your blankie, and your sketchbook. We're gonna be drawing. Oh yeah. In the past 50 years. Yeah, they're definitely more slithery and snaky. And I do wonder, because like the dates on a lot of those were, not all of them, but a lot of them were like after the dates on a lot of these like Dragons of the East. And so I do wonder how much inspiration, you know, like did these artists see some of this work and get inspired? Like, oh, that's what a dragon looks like. That gives me something to visualize, you know, kind of like we do today. You see art you like, and you're like, okay, I'll take pieces of that and then add my own spin. And that's all art really is derivative. But anyway, we're not going to talk about the nature of art today. We're just going to talk about the nature of dragons. So let me get these posted in the warm-up chat. One sec, and then I will read. Hope you guys are ready. My voice is still struggling, guys, so I apologize if I sound a little raspy. Oh, ignore that dumb. I forgot to take out the doodle. I don't really feel like saving it again. Ignore my scribble. Dragons of the East and West for inspo today. Here we go. Alright, let's do it. So let's read. Let's start with the Western dragon, since most of us are from a Western culture. I don't know that everybody is, but I think most people in chat are. So we'll start with what we're familiar with, right? Like, at least what we go to probably more instinctually. when we think of dragons. We'll read this. It's I forget the name. I didn't write down the author. Some dude, some book, some dude. Anyway, there's this canto from this book. So, you guys ready for this? Hold on. Let me wet my whistle here. Okay, about dragons. Oh gosh, I don't even know if I can read this. It's like written in Old Englishy. By this the dreadful beast drew nigh to hand, half flying and half footing in his haste, that with his largeness measured much land, and made wide shadow under his huge waist. I'm assuming. This is all written very weird. Can you guys see the way they're spelling this? As mountain doth valley overcast, approaching nigh, he reared high afore, his body monstrous, horrible, and vast, which to increase his wondrous greatness more, was swollen with wrath and poison, and with bloody gore. And over, all with brazen scales was armed, like plated coats of steel, so couched near. That, oh my gosh, this is hard to read. That not might pierce, nay might his course be harmed, with dent of sword, nor push of pointed spear, which as an eagle seeing prey appear, his airy plumes doth rouse, full rudely dight. I don't know what that means. Full rudely dight. So shaked he, that horror was to hear, for as the clashing of an armor bright, such noise his roused scales did send into the night. His flaggy wings, I like that, his flaggy wings, when forth he did display, were like two sails, in which the hollow wind is gathered full, and worketh speedy way. And eke the pins, what does that mean? And eke the pins, this is difficult, that did his pinions bind, maybe it's air, and ere the pins that did his pinions bind, were like mainyards with flying canis lined, with which winnest him list the, oh god, this is too Old English. Let me read this really fast, see if I can figure it out. I liked the bit about the sails, that was at least understandable, and the eagle eye, so like there's some pieces in here. The bloody gore, of course, always fun. Okay, hold on. With which win him list to the air to beat. Okay, he's jumping into the air, flying away, got it. And there by force unwanted passage find. The clouds before him fled for terror great, and all the heavens stood still, amazed with his threat. Didn't exactly rhyme, but I'm glad we got through it, guys. That was not as calming as I was hoping it would be. Flaggy wings is a great word, though, right? Like, I love that phrase. We get it. It's huge. Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, so Western dragons, like when I was a kid, I remember I always thought dragons were just massive. Like they're just these big, flying, scaly lizard things that breathe fire, right? I didn't actually hear him say anything about fire in this. Did you? I mean, I was focusing on just reading it. So half flying, half footing. So he's like flapping and running, which is kind of a cool visual. That with his largeness measured much land. What a way to say he's real big. Made a wide shadow. As a mountain does the valley overcast. Okay, there we go. Yeah. Interesting. Horrible and vast. I love the way that they describe stuff. The poison, the wrath, the bloody gore, brazen scales was armed. Yeah, I mean, there's some really cool verbiage in here. So, I mean, from this, you can draw your own conclusions, right? And you can try and parse it out on your own. If you want to go read the JPEG that I dropped in Warmup chat. So it's a little rough, and it's interesting because like Old English, you know, like a lot of the letters look the same, but they like switch them, like K's and F's and V, and like there's like different words, like different letters smushed in there. So it makes it a little hard, and like extra E's for no reason. Anyway, but I thought that was a cool little poem, or canto, if you will. I'm definitely not going to read this because this is like way too illustrated manuscript-y Old English for me, but I just thought this like long skinny Charizard is literally what this looked like to me. But this is like kind of what, you know, I thought it was cool that in this dragon there's like multiple wings. Like it's not just, unless those are supposed to just be two wings with multiple colors. I kind of read this as like two sets of wings, you know? I thought that was interesting. But you can see some of what they talked about, right? And then, of course, we've got St. George and the Dragon, and there's like a million different depictions of this image. I don't know how well you guys can see this. On the screen, it's not too bad. But yeah, of course, knights and dragons are like a big deal. But I love the hooked beak situation. And so, like, I don't know. So, like, I look at some of this stuff, and to me, and it could just be me filling in a gap with something that I think would be cool, right? But to me, I don't think it's that much of a stretch to say, like, ancient people found dinosaur fossils and were like, what do you think this is? And just kind of, like, imagined, you know, because especially the beaks, like, I see that in both of them. Like, they both have pretty sharp, pointed faces. Like, look at this ancient, like, I mean, that's almost a straight up, that almost looks like the top of a skull. For like a fossil, you know. And then if you, I don't know, I was reading something about how there was a lot of ankylosaurs in the East, like I don't know, just in like Eastern culture, I guess, the places that they would have found them, like they found old fossils in palaces and in things. They're like a lot of ankylosaurs, and like ankylosaur is super armored, has a lot of spikes, like I don't know. I have a hard time thinking that it's just a coincidence that dragons look so similar. I don't know. So when I was younger, I guess, I always thought like ancient peoples found fossils and were like, what do we think this is? Like they just didn't know, they weren't still alive. Right, like, oh no, there's this giant creature, like, and then that's where these legends come from. And to me, it makes sense why you see legends of giant beasts all over. But at the same time, I feel like we are just prone to being afraid of things that we don't see or understand, right? And so I can also see the perspective of like, no, we just, like, look at what was scary to ancient peoples, like, you know, birds, snakes, like, big cats, you know, all these things that could hurt us, and then it's not too much of a stretch to say no, and then they just imagine that they were, like, what if they were all together, like, you know, imagination runs wild, right? But I don't know, I feel like it doesn't, I think it could go either way. Like, I don't think it's unreasonable to think some ancient person found a fossil and was like, oh, look, that must be a creature. I've heard of dragons, this must be a dragon, and then that like shaped the way that we thought dragons looked. Like I think that could be both. Like I think it could be both, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I don't think it's unreasonable to think that somebody could find a fossil and be like, wow, I've never seen this animal before, like I should look out for this. I need to describe this so that other people, so I can protect my family and friends and people farther away need to know. And anyway, because to me it makes some sense, but I don't know. Yeah, I need to look more into that. But all that to say, I don't know if you guys have any dinosaur books. Let's do more story time really fast before we start drawing. I'm not going to start my timer yet. Yeah, 4 wings, right? Hold on. Let me catch up on chat a bit. Some stories, dragons more poisonous. Yeah. Old English is pre-1066. You can use old as descriptio English that is old, but oh yeah, I just meant old English, not like old E, like not ye old English, not the actual. I just meant it's English that is an older style of writing that I can't read. Didn't the poem describe the wings like sails? Yeah, it did. I can read that part again. It says, his flaggy wings, when forth he did display, were like 2 sails, in which the hollow wind is gathered full and worketh speedy way, which I think is really cool. I like that whole phrase. Except for like he spells sails like S-A-Y-L-E-S. So I'm just assuming it's sails, like it's phonetically sails, so that's how I'm saying it. But wind is W-Y-N-D. Like there's just, yeah, whatever style of English that is, that's what I mean by Old English. It's a stretch, but yeah. Maybe. I think it's all a stretch, right? Like we're all just guessing. I don't know if there's a way to really know, because it's like none of us were there when the first person thought of a dragon. Like we don't know. We can just speculate. So I think one theory is as good as the other. I guess I'll just put it that way. You also have Legends of Giant Dogs. Like, yes, I actually was going to put in, like, Foo Dogs and Cerberus and some other mythological creatures, but we might do that another time. I just want to focus, since it's Dragon Week, I think we'll just focus on dragons today. Oh, I do have a little dragon emote. I have no idea who gets... I can't remember if I put it on... I have 2 dragon emotes, don't I? Well, there's one of them. That's a feathery dragon, very dinosaur-inspired. So, I was going to say, if anybody needs more... Yeah, go lurk. If anyone needs more inspiration, and if you have any dinosaur books around, I'm sure the scientifically accurate among you will hate this, but I think sometimes looking at dinosaur fossils or just the shapes in dinosaurs and birds and just anything, really, any of that can feed your inspiration to design a dragon. So, but for today, I'm going to focus just on what we're getting from history. And we'll look a little bit at pop culture too, but I think I'm going to do a sketch first of like a historical dragon, and then I'll look at some more popular ones. But I also have this book, which I do want to read from really quick, just since we're doing story time. Let me put it on the big screen so you guys can actually... Boop. Oh, there we go. Well, it's close enough. This is a book I picked up at like a half-price books or something a long time ago. Highly recommend it if you are interested in... I guess just knowing about historic creatures of any kind. Like, so let me just show you. Like, it's done alphabetically, and it's just these people who have gathered whatever they can find about stories of various, like each one of these sections is a different creature, right? So like just various creatures from all over the world, from all over different cultures. Oops, I think I messed up my chat somehow. I don't know what I did. Sorry, I'll fix that in a second. Anyway, highly recommend it because I know that we have Wikipedia, but sometimes it's nice to just be able to, I don't know, for me, like flip through a book and be like, oh, a kraken, oh, Krampus, oh, I can't pronounce that, Kosmatshuka, which is apparently a fabulous horse belonging to the great hero Isla Mormitez in the medieval legend and folklore of Russia. Famed for its immortal strength and stamina, it was also known by the names Sivushko and Barushka Matushka, which I love saying, and I'm going to say all day now. But yeah, there's just like, I don't know, it's just really cool inspiration for like various mythological creatures of all kinds. Yeah. Creature from legend, a lovely fox. So I figured I was going to read about dragons before we get started. Just to give you a little taste. I'm sure there's like a huge section on them. Because dragons are one of the better known mythological creatures for sure. In fact, they may not even have a dragon section now that I think of it. They may have actually broken them into different named dragons, but let's see what it says. Okay, here we go. Draco, dragon, dove. Interesting. All the symbolism behind doves. Oh yeah, there's like pages on this. Okay. Let me read. The dragon slain by St. George is perhaps the most typical and consistent in its imagery, and dragons found in the bestiaries of heraldry, which is, if you don't know what heraldic symbolism is, it's these. It's the stuff you see on, like, crest and shield and whatnot, so this would be a heraldic dragon. This would also kind of, well, this one's kind of a heraldic dragon. I would say this one's probably a little more typical of what you would see in, like, heraldic imagery, but... anyway, let's keep reading, since we're having story time. Feel free to draw while I'm doing this. But this is going to describe an eastern dragon, or a western dragon really fast for us. So, the most typical and consistent in its imagery, and dragons found in the bestiaries of heraldry echo it very closely. In each instance, it has bat wings, a barbed and often poisonous tail, and it breathes fire. Interesting. So, include poison in your dragon design if you'd like to. If you'd like to do a historically accurate western dragon. It's good to know. And it breathes fire. It is depicted thus in numerous English folktales, and it is often portrayed in Christian churches or in the many paintings that describes St. George in the act of slaying the creature. In most of these, the dragon is usually represented as a far smaller creature than its more ancient forebears. Most British dragons are really worms, a name that comes from Scandinavian tradition. These creatures are wingless, generally have lengthy bodies, and a poisonous rather than fiery breath. Okay, so that's a worm, like a worm, or maybe a WYRM too. They have traits in common. They tend to be scaly, haunt wells or pools, and have a deep attraction to maidens and princesses. Both are known to hoard treasure. All extremely hard to kill. Let me find another description really fast. Okay, here's talking exactly about what I was talking about just now. It is generally accepted that the myth of the dragon grew out of the remains of extinct dinosaurs discovered in ancient times and believed to belong to magical or unearthly creatures. Details such as their fiery breath and wily nature were added afterwards. Artifacts depicting dragons of one kind or another have been found as early as the 4th millennium BC. Wow. That's a lot. Excavations in Pakistan and China have unearthed objects decorated by winged snakes, while a cylinder seal dating to the late 2nd century BC shows a creature which is not far in shape from the traditional idea of the dragon. Okay. Goes into some descriptions of the word. Let me see if I can find one that describes... Yeah, okay, it's just going into the different dragons that we know about in culture. Wow, there's like pages on dragons. Holy cow, it's like a whole chapter. Okay, I'm not gonna read the whole thing. But yeah, check this book out if you have a chance to. I think it's really worth it. So let's go back to drawing time. So, taking what we've learned, right? I read something in there about how they fed on the flesh of elephants in Rome. Apparently, that's what they were known to do. So typical marks of a Western dragon. We have scales, right? Bat wings, poison tail, like poisonous tail barb, I guess, of some kind, and breathe fire, of course. But that seems to be debated. But yeah, okay, so breathe, optionally fire breathing. But typically, I guess I should say typically, not optionally. But not the, I guess it sounds like not all of them, like the early ones in Britain. Okay. Hoarding. So these are more, these last two are, I don't know, you don't have to worry about those in your design if you don't want to. Just things to think about. So this is, we probably, except for the poisonous tail barb, I would not have thought of that, but I guess that's true. Like, you know, I see it right there. I feel like I see it right here. Like they all kind of have like a pointed tip. It's hard to see the tail here, but there's like a barb right there. This one doesn't have it, but there's one here too. The tail's over here, but there's one right there. So that actually, I never really thought about why so many dragons have this like kind of a look on the end of the tail, but like even Spyro, our little friend Spyro's got it, you know? Now I'm kind of like curious, how many of these have a little tail tip? There's one right there. There's one right there. Interesting. All right, well, there you go. The more you know, guys. Learned something today. Huh. All right, well, so this is our Western dragon. So I'm going to do one of these first. Feel free to use your own inspiration. This one's going to be a little more typical, and then tomorrow I'm going to say, like, the design of dragon stream is like, don't worry about east-west, like, mash them together if you want to, or just look at artists that you admire from, like, you know, the modern digital art era. There's billions of images of dragons to be inspired by, so I'm not gonna worry too much about that. But let's see, we've got most of them have some kind of horn or something, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that. I really like this guy. I'm gonna do some kind of version of him, maybe. All right. Yeah, it really is. Oh god, I know Russian, but I can't understand a word. That's okay, Raga. No worries. No worries. Oops, I forgot to stretch. Cerberus. Yeah. No worries. Until the printing press, maybe? Yeah. Let's also not forget that medieval European description of drag-based description of animals in Africa and Asia. Yeah, for sure. Trying to draw an elephant from description. Oh yeah, and that's exactly what happened with rhinos and the unicorn, right? Like that was Pliny the Elder trying to of course I believe he was Roman, trying to describe a rhinoceros, you know? Yeah, there didn't seem to be any uniformity in spelling. It was like this weird combination of phonetics and style. That's so interesting. I don't know enough about linguistics to know more about that. Yeah, exactly, Lagoncore. They might have traveled to Asia and seen a sailing lizard, and some local will tell them, yeah, that's just a baby. Yeah, or maybe that was like the local lore too, you know? Like there's so many ways you could explain it. Waiting for the bus. All right, you be safe out there. Let us know when you're not in the dark and in the cold. Relevant feminist. Look at you with your Monster Hunter. Yeah, for sure. Venom seems to be a common thing when fire is not a thing. Yeah, that's true. You're right. I just have never really thought about it, you know? Like, I've always thought of them as, like, kind of, like, creepy looking and venomous looking, the way that, like, like a Black Widow is, like, venomous looking, but I just never really made the connection personally. Maybe I'm the only one, but I just never really personally made the connection of, like, poisonous tail barb. I don't know. Probably inspired by scorpions, yeah, for sure. I mean, all mythological creatures tend to be just, like, amalgams of the thing that we fear, right? Like, it's just an amalgamation of, like, oh, I'm afraid of that. Yeah, we've definitely looked at a lot of scales recently, so I'm kind of drawing on some of that inspiration. Feel free to pull up those old reference pages if you need to. I'm excited to get to the Eastern Dragon after this because I don't draw those as much, you know, like, offer me solutions, offer me alternatives. Of the world. Hey, this song is so appropriate for what we're drawing. Apocalyptic creatures. I do love a scaly beast. Oh, I forgot to pull this book up. Another artist that I recommend, well, not another artist, but I guess another book that I recommend, it's definitely an older art style. It's very, very shrink-wrapped dinosaur, like, heavy into the, like, musculature and reptilian nature of them, but I still really love this book. I think it's really well done. Obviously, the science is kind of old. Let me switch back over. But if you guys aren't familiar with William Stout, let me see, hold on. Another little story time, guys. This book's amazing. Actually so my parents gave us this book when we were kids. Oh, that's why that looks weird. My camera is off. Here we go. Hold on. It's gonna bug me if I don't fix this. Sorry for the shaky cam situation. There we go. Okay. Anyway, there we go. Now you can actually see it a little bit. Maybe. Anyway, my parents bought me and my brothers this book when we were pretty little. I used to read it all the time. Just looking at the illustrations is so, I mean, how can you not want to be a paleo artist if you read this as a kid, right? Like, look at the drama in this image. It's so good. Yes. William Stout, like, just really, really incredible. Just the style. It's very comic book. It's very, I don't even know how to describe it, but like every image I feel like in this book is just, like, I could look at it forever, you know? I'm having trouble with this frame. I might switch it over to my full screen camera. I think I fixed that last night, so hold on. I did a lot of, like, OBS setup-ish. There we go. Okay. But yeah, like, look at these illustrations. They're so good. Highly recommend anything by William Stout, quite frankly. Oops, there we go. But yeah, if, like, just the details. So anyway, if you have any dinosaur books, or if you don't have dinosaur books, if you're looking for some dinosaur books, check this out. See if you can find a copy at a library even. I feel like libraries carry stuff like this a lot. I feel like there's just a lot of really good inspiration for creature design, and sorry, that window light is catching this and kind of whiting out the page, but anyway, love it. Just love it. This whole book is great. So yeah, go find some books, go find some images, go find some artists. You can look up William Stout. You won't find all of his images online, right? But you'll find a lot of them. So if you need some good dinosaur inspo for creature design, I love William Stout's work. It's not the original book that my parents gave us. I actually let a friend borrow it in college and they never gave it back, but I managed to find another copy online recently, so, and honestly, it's probably in better condition than the one that we grew up reading. But Anyway. Now we did look at lizard eyes yesterday, so since this seems to be very like lizard inspired, I'm gonna stick with. Although I like the idea of giving him like a gecko eye. You guys, I'm in love with these gecko eyes. If you haven't looked at the eye of a gecko, so interesting. But for me, I'm gonna innovate as much as I can within this very classical depiction of a dragon, right? So we have our lizardy body. I'm gonna pull up some of my refs. If you need refs, you can always 70s and 80s. Yeah, I think it is from I think this is from like 85. So yeah, it's definitely old science. Like there's, I mean, Ray Bradbury wrote the intro. What? I'll have to read that later. 81. Yeah. Yeah. It's I just love it. Just opening it makes me want to sit down and read it. It's got that like illustrated manuscript style on some pages. Anyway, you gotta check it out. This guy and James Gurney with Dinotopia. Those are like my two big dinosaur inspirations growing up for sure. Definitely informed the way that I think about dragons and dinos and just creature design in general. Well, them and Reen Portfleet, I would say as well. A lot of good creature art sketches in his book. Maybe I'll pull that out sometime. I've thought about doing like a video series about just looking at some art books, just because honestly I don't get to look at my art books as much as I'd like to, and I have a whole shelf back there. Like, look at them, just sitting over there, waiting for me to read them. You can't even see them because my blanket's in the way. Okay, so it's behind the stool. Anyway, I'll clean my studio and then show you some other time. But I always want to, yeah, I always want to read through them. I never have the opportunity. So I've thought about doing something with that in the future. We'll see. So for me, I'm just going with the typical Western dragon. I do kind of want to look at some of these pictures of St. George and the Dragon. They've got very like lizardy arms, and they almost have like spiked ears is what I'm seeing. I used to draw all my dragons with ears like that when I was a kid. Yeah, maybe I'll incorporate the spiked ears a bit, since that's like a thing. It's not really something I typically include, so we're stretching our understanding a bit here. At least I am. Danger zone. Alright, I'm gonna pull up my lizard ref really fast, and then I'm actually gonna pull up a batwing reference. I may actually vanish. Let me put this on a different layer. I might vanish my refs for a second so I have more room. Okay. Pull up a batwing reference. Alright, let's see. Just miscommunications. Locals could mean there are bigger lizards, and the traveler took it to mean these lizards in particular get bigger. Yeah, for sure. Gosh, there's so many ways to read it all. Maleficent's dragon form is magnificent. I agree. Such a cool movie. You haven't studied, if you haven't studied Sleeping Beauty in a while, like if you haven't looked at it, it's a gorgeous movie. But man, the art in that, the artistry in the backgrounds of that film, they're like top tier. I mean, it would hold up today. I don't think they would tell the story the same way today, but like the style of art, it's gorgeous. They did a great job. All right, let's look at a bat wing. I do think tomorrow I am going to pull like cool poses and cool references from nature to design some of this stuff. Here's a nice little drawing of some bats. Just different styles of bat wings here. Ooh, I like this reptile face. Let's take that. Look at that chin. I love the lifted spikes on this serpent. I'm definitely gonna incorporate that. I think we even drew. I think we drew from that snake on Scales Day. Oh yeah, I forgot. I got distracted. I was trying to look at lizard bodies. I spent so long pinning. Oh my gosh. I need to clean up my reptiles and my small mammals folders because it's chaos in there. I just started at some point. I just started dropping stuff in the main folder, and I was like, I'll sort this out later. So it's not super organized, but there's so many cool ones. The rhinoceros iguana was an iguana that I was not super familiar with, but I love so much. There's so many cool iguanas. And then there's a monitor that I found yesterday. It's like really rare. What's it called? The earless monitor. Yeah. It has a really cool body style. Very, very draconic, for sure. Oh, Goofy Movie, guys, hold up. Somebody was asking about this song the other day. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but it's got some power line right now, guys. All right, I think I'm gonna use these monitors as reference for the body. I'm not gonna put all of them on screen, but you guys have seen most of them. Mostly for the way they hold their legs, I think. This is a very lizardy. I tend to go cat-like a lot of times with my dragon designs, so I'm gonna try and. Oops, definitely didn't just draw on the wrong layer. Don't worry, I never do that. I will never let you down. I will never do. Shoot, I did a lot of the scales on the wrong layer. Alright, we can fix this. Hold on. Just merge everything. Oh my gosh, merge down. Merge down! Why isn't it letting me merge down? There. Take it back out. Alright, don't worry, Maze. I locked the layer, so you don't have to get mad at me. No, Batwing! It's true. It's true. Watched both Sleepy Beauty and Making the Doc. Oh, did you? The Making of Doc. I'll have to look into that. I think I did see a documentary about it. It seems like super interesting. Just that whole time in animation. Oh, you guys are gonna get me on an animation nerd rant here in a second. I have also got a wonderful book by Frank and Ollie Johnson. Oh, well, I think it's Frank. It's by Frank and Ollie. What's the other guy? Frank Thomas and Ollie Johnson. Anyway, I think it's called The Imitation of Life, and it just talks about that whole era of like discovering how to make animation work and like the early days of figuring out squash and stretch, for example, and just like, you know, how to imitate life and simplify life in a moving format. Just a really, really interesting book if you've ever wondered about the early, especially Disney animation. But yeah, just early animation history. It's really, really cool. think they did talk about Sleeping Beauty a little bit because I think they both worked on Sleeping Beauty. I'm trying to do lizard hands, guys, instead of bird feet. Don't know how effective I'm being, but... It does, yeah, very graphic design. It looks way more modern, for sure. Like, I feel like a lot of graphic design has actually gone back to that classical kind of look lately. I feel like a lot of the, at least the children's books I'm seeing, a lot of like the big name publishers, a lot of the children's books they're publishing look super like this very flat, graphic design, I guess is a good way to describe it, style almost. Which is why I feel like I'm never going to get hired as an illustrator, because I just don't do that. I need to have any kind of graphic design skills. If anyone can recommend any free resources specifically, because I'm always like perpetually broke, would love to learn more about graphic design. I've actually got a possible opportunity at work to do some graphic design stuff, which I'm kind of looking forward to. All right, I already broke my rule because I'm doing bird feet, so I need to go look at lizard feet now. Hold on. I need like a good... Ooh, look at this guy. Wow. Let's see, monitor. I'm going to do monitor feet. I guess I could do crocodile feet. Monitor lizard. Lizard. Can't type, guys. Why are all the pictures so small? Sorry, I have way too many tabs open and I cannot find anything I'm trying to use right now. Oh, I just saw your tutorial in Discord, Mir. Thank you for posting that. Okay, so lizard feet. I guess it depends on if you're looking at a lizard or a monitor, but they seem to have really long middle toes, and then the toes sort of like, I don't know, they can almost fan out. It's kind of interesting. So I'm gonna try and incorporate that a little bit better. They also don't have a lot of flesh on them. They're pretty bony. Let me see how these guys solved that problem. They made them a little more fleshy as well, actually. This one, not as much. It's like a very skeletal, knobbly sort of a foot. This one almost looks like a hand. That's creepy. These are more talony, like a bird. Okay. I'm just gonna do my best here. Creepy. I'm obviously not very practiced at lizard feet here. They just they have these long, skinny little talons. It's kind of weird. Claws, I suppose, they're not talons. I definitely err on the side of birds. Okay, they just look so small. Oh, I'm dating myself. Love a good drum line though. That looks weird. I was trying to make it look like he's like crawling down a rock face or something, but lizard feet look weird, guys, if you look at them. All right, let's do this little long bony leg situation. I do like it. Almost looks like this one is wearing spiky leg warmers, so I'm just gonna do that. Incorporation, appropriation of nature. It's got such a long middle toe. It's kind of crazy looking. I might shorten it slightly. It's a little too much toe. Don't want it to look like a frog. Keep grabbing the selection tool instead of... There we go. There's our fire breathing. Very lizardy. I still kind of want to do a tongue that's like, well, I'll play with it more tomorrow. I'm looking forward to getting a little more, less constrained tomorrow, but yeah. All right, so we have our lizardy bits. Let's see, what else are people adding here? Mostly spines on the back. I don't see a lot of sails. This one has some sails. I do like the description of the wings as a sail. That was kind of fun to read. I'm also curious how to... Like, you even see it on Maleficent's tail. There's just like these 3 prongs. Where was the other one that had that? Right here. It's like super medieval, like 3, like the tail splits into 3 almost. So let me see if I can play with that some. Let's see if I can design anything that I like here. A little more scorpion-y, maybe. Venom tail, huh? Maybe I'll make it a little more knobbly so it kind of looks like there's any amount of structure to hold that in place there. Definitely kind of a weird thing. Pulling a little bit from the alligators that we looked at earlier, like the plating on the back of their tails. It's a lot of fun. Okay, so there we have our dragon body, or at least mine. I don't know. I'm not sure what you guys are drawing. But there we go. That's kind of what I was thinking as I was making that. Now let's add the wings, because, you know, I gotta have those, what was it they said again? His flaggy wings. When forth he did display. Yeah, I'd have to draw that for sure. So let's draw some flaggy wings, guys. Flaggy wings ahoy. Move you way down, because your wings have to be very flaggy, sir. So you're gonna need a lot of room for those wings. Alright, so there's my little western dragon. Flaggy wings, let's see. Wings like sails. I'm gonna do a second layer here, actually. Yeah, okay. I'm on the right layer for once, guys. Let's lock that layer too, so I don't mess up again. Flaggy wings. Like, I don't know about you, but when I read that, I picture like tattered, like flapping in the wind kind of a wing, like it's just kind of like nonsense. So let's, I don't know, let me think about it for a minute. I'm gonna do some sketching. Using my bat, where's my bats? Bat reference, reacquaint myself with that really quick. I love the various attachments. I bet I can incorporate that into these fins somehow. I don't know, maybe make one of these fins, like attach. I don't know. Maybe a really good fin, really strong fin might be an extra anchor point for a wing, you know, maybe further down the tail even. I'll think about it. Thinking about what we talked about with the fingers and such. I feel like wings would have to be so big, though, for dragons to actually use them. I like the idea of like an extra little thumb spike right there coming out of the wrist bone. I think that, what is it, koalas that have that, right? It's like one of their wrist bones has like grown out and it's actually like a, isn't it? Is it pandas? There's some arboreal mammal that has a thumb spike that comes, or like an extra spike out of the wrist. I forget which one it is. Really interesting though. Alright, so I'm gonna remember what we talked about when we did bats, right? We got our 4 fingers. So this is the hand, the knuckle. You want to, but I don't. Be there. Flaggy wing if I ever saw one. I don't like it that though. Let me change the pose here. Or I could just like not worry about accuracy and just be like, it's magic, and it has a smaller wing because it just makes more sense to fit on the page better. The fold is wing down actually. See the back of his knuckles here. Might make the flagginess a little more, so there we have the wrist right there, elbows over here, shoulder attachment here, extra bicep, some extra back muscles going in here to support that a little bit. Make his other wing flaggy. Be that way. Showing off that size, perhaps. Nah, it's too big. I don't want to color all that later. I might color one of these, I'm not sure, so just save myself some time. Alright, it's sketchy, but here we go. Gonna use that line weight to let you guys know what I'm looking at here. Oh, gotta sneeze. Hold on. Mute myself. Mute myself. Ah. Ugh, sneeze doesn't come. I hate when that happens. I don't know if it's free, but sometimes I watch a YouTuber called Danksy. Or Dansky? Okay, thanks. I appreciate the recommendation. I'll check it out. I'll write that down so I don't forget. In fact, I'll just pull up a little YouTube tab and do a search. It sounds familiar. I wonder if I follow him. Oh, interesting. Yeah, I'll check this out. I don't have... Oh, there's the sneeze. Hold on. I need a light to look at. anyway, sorry, had to get that out. Oh boy, flaggy wings. I'll have to play with that some more. I'm not super happy with these, but I want to move on to the Eastern Dragon because it's already 11, so we're going to go over to the Eastern one. There are also some YouTube videos that break down the core fun. But yeah, there are. I've got some books on design too. I think a lot of that, though, I just need something I can listen to and kind of watch an example of and work along with. I think I just do better with learning that way. All right, Flaggy Wings. I'm going to call him Flaggy. His name is Flaggy. That's such a good word. Flaggy the Draggy. Little heart. He loves you. He just wants to flap at you with his big flaggy wings. I also imagine that a person is roughly this big compared to him, because that just, you know, they kept describing him like a mountain, so. Wow, says the person. Okay. Anyway, there's our Western Dragon. So let's move on to the Eastern. I'm looking forward to this one as well, because like I said, I just don't do a lot of Eastern. This is my just very initial scribble, just following along. So let's read about this one. Again, historically, head of a camel, eyes of a hare, ears of an ox, antlers of a deer, neck of a serpent, paws of the tiger, talons of an eagle, scales of a carp, and long whiskers. So you can see kind of, here's some pop culture Eastern dragons. Even Falcor, he's got the scales, he's got the whiskers. I mean, it's definitely a different style interpretation, but like I definitely see the head of the camel in that. You know, he's obviously an Eastern dragon. We got Miyazaki, of course, Spirited Away dragon, Haku there, Shenlong. I pulled Rhea the Last Dragon. Now this is definitely a very modern reinterpretation of an Eastern dragon, but the elements are there, right? But like obviously a lot of different things there. These are just some pop culture ones. Avatar, of course. Mushu I had to throw in just because, you know, why not? He's definitely got minimalist Eastern dragon qualities. And then here's the, scales of a carp, talons of an eagle, paws of a tiger, antlers of a deer. I did try to look up Asian animals for this. So this is I forget the name. A Milu deer. It's a Chinese deer. It's very rare. But those are some antlers I thought looked pretty cool. Oh, that tea. So sorry. Ears of an ox, camel, all that stuff. Camel looks like he's smoking for some reason. And then, of course, here's some, now the Eastern is obviously a very broad term. Like these are Persian, I believe. Both of these are, like, ancient depictions of dragons in Persia. But you can still see the, like, combination of features, right? The talons of the eagle, the paws of the tiger, the face of a camel. Not as much in this one. It's a little more serpent-like. You can definitely see the scales pretty strongly here. But he's got the the long hairs, the horns, the antlers, coming out. I don't know what this is. It's kind of interesting. Here's a more classic Chinese dragon here. And then, of course, these sculptures I just thought were cool. This is from the Forbidden City, I believe. I think there's this thing called, like, Wall of Seven Dragons or something like that. So there's, like, all these different Chinese dragons on this wall. And then I thought this really old sculpture was interesting, too. It has a little bit different features than the other ones, but I still think it's like you can still see the scales, the paws, the talons. The head of the camel part is interesting, for sure. I see the horns here, the antlers, however you want to depict those. I feel like this is probably everyone's, like, really classic idea of what a Chinese dragon looks like, or an Eastern dragon. But yeah, I wanted to also read about some symbolism. I found a lot of things about dragons from the East. A lot of them are associated with, like, luck too. But this one, I thought, you always see them, like, in sculptures with, like, a pearl, and I thought this was interesting. So it says the pearl is sometimes thought to represent the moon. In fact, one legend has it that some dragons had become infatuated with the moon and went insane trying to steal it from the sky. Other tales depict the pearl as an egg placed beneath the dragon's neck or chin. The dragon is said to carry the egg away until it is ready to hatch. By far the most agreed upon tale is that the pearl represents the dragon's wisdom, hence the term pearls of wisdom. So anyway, I just thought that was interesting. So I may incorporate that into my design. But yeah, here's all the bits I'm going to be working from to draw this creature. I kind of did it, like I said, a quick one earlier, but I'm actually going to use these references this time because I didn't really use the reference before. So yeah. I think the head of a camel piece is the most, I don't draw a lot of camels, I'm not gonna lie. So I'm just gonna kind of pay attention to what I'm noticing. I don't think I actually realized until I looked at this picture that camels don't have big ears. I was like, wait a minute, and then I looked at more. Let me pull up a few more. I have some camelid in the ungulate section. There's a camelid section. I probably need to break up my ungulates because it's just, there's so many. But where's the camels? Camelids, there we go. But yeah, I was looking at them and I was like, oh my gosh, camels don't really have like big, they're just like these little tiny little nubs for most of the species. The only species you can even really see the camel's ear is like this very, very non-furry one. And look how little and cute it is, you guys. It's like so cute. I just never thought about it, I guess. I really haven't studied camels. But anyway, lots of cool photos of camels out there. Here's a nice one with some patterning. But you can see the head shape is kind of what I'm trying to focus on right now. It's kind of like a almost giraffe in a way. Where's my camel section? I don't have very many pictures of camels for some reason. I'm just gonna pin a few more really fast, actually. Boop. Okay, give me a few more options here. Okay, there we go. So there's a few more pins in there now if anybody needs some camel reference. I haven't really like vetted these or anything, but it's a few different angles of faces and stuff if anyone needs them, so they're in there. Let's go back. Okay. Camel face. Alright, face of a camel. Let's see. I'm gonna sketch this a little bit quick. I'm just trying to, I mostly like the nostril, honestly. I think that's a really interesting detail. And of course those little flappy lips. We got our flaggy wings and our flappy lips, guys. And so I can take this basic shape and kind of play with it. This heavy brow is kind of interesting with the lashing. I like that. Especially since Eastern dragons tend to be a little fuzzier, you know? It might be kind of fun to play with that a bit. Like that forehead shape is kind of fun too. Okay, a little tiny ear, but we're going to do the ear of the ox, so I'm not worried about the ear. I do want to pay attention to how the camel's fur seems to lay though, because I'm definitely going to make a furry one. This dragon shall have fuzz, faux show. Okay, and I'll look at this one really fast. This camel has so much sass. Oh my gosh. That is the sassiest camel I've ever seen. I do like how some of these, like depending on the type of camel you're looking at, some of them are super furry. Like the Bactrian camel is obviously extremely furry. Has this really, really magnificent, just look at the hair on this girl. Like, I mean, if that's not inspiration right there, I don't know what is. I just love how it comes to a little point right there and kind of trails along the back. So anyway, things to keep in mind for our Eastern dragon design. Okay, then we've got the eyes of a hare, which I think is an interesting detail. And I wasn't really sure what they meant by that. But when I look at the hare, what I notice is it looks like it's a very wide eye, right? Very alert looking. And it almost, I don't know. I don't know how to incorporate that into the camel. I do like the camel eyebrow ridge, but eyes of the hare. It just, there's like a very, very clear pupil, a very clear iris, I guess, is another thing I noticed about that. So there's our eye of the hare. This is going to be my literal interpretation here, and then I'm going to modify this in a second. So I'm just kind of gathering Just kind of doing some little studies here. This ox. So I know some ox have like little like ear tufts on them, but it's just like overall all these creatures are very fluffy. You know what I mean? It's like a really different feel. I might even incorporate this and make it a little more rabbity because I don't know. Why not? If you can, why not? Okay, and then we have obviously the neck of a serpent. So I'm just gonna, that's implied, right? It's obviously just like long. So I'm not gonna worry too much about that detail just yet. Okay, long neck. Antlers. Did not pick one from a good angle, but we're going to use what we learned about with antler practice the other day. Remember the bowl, you got your main beam. Okay. And then it tends to come around. Hey, we got some Disney music playing, guys. Okay, antler. Did not leave room for the feet. We're just gonna say, we'll just do a quick study here. The paw of a tiger, but then the talon of an eagle. So I think combining that is totally fine. So that's what I'll probably do, is make them kind of fluffy, but also long claws, basically. Tiger with long claws. Go. And of course scales. Okay. So, you can kind of put the scales wherever you want, I suppose, but I'm gonna try to keep it more classical. I don't know. Alright. So here's what I've got from my reference. Cool. Slide you down. Let's do some actual designing here. Boop. We'll just say this. Make you kind of faint and do a new one. So I have some reference pulled up on this screen as well. I'm not going to put it on screen, but you can find all the pictures that you need on Pinterest if you'd like. All right, let's do, I'm going to start with the body shape like we always talk about, right? One thing I was noticing, obviously, from a little more modern ones too, but even the older ones, it's just that long serpentine body. I really don't draw long snake-like bodies very often on my creatures, so let's I'm most interested in doing things I don't normally do, so let's start with that. And I also like that there's not really like wings to worry about here, you know. So I'm gonna get my body shape down a little bit, find a fun pose here. I kind of like the ones that have slightly shorter antlers. I think I will adjust this a little bit and just do a little more branchy antlers than necessarily the giant guys. It's a lot of fun. Casey threw her pen. You guys, I think I do need to make a command for that. Quit throwing your pen. Okay, so I'm just kind of remembering all the notes I just took, right? Like heavy brow, eye of the hair is like a very like clear eye, I suppose, is the best way that I know how to interpret that at this point. I like the fluff. I'm gonna pull that in. This is gonna be a very classic looking Eastern dragon for sure. I love the fluffy hair of the camel is a lot of fun. So I'm gonna draw the jaw, and then I think I'm just gonna go to town with some of that fluff we were looking at. On the bottom, let's draw the ear really fast. On the top. And then I'm just gonna briefly imply scales here because this is gonna take forever to draw all those scales. I do want to keep track of my musculature though, because snakes actually, if you actually were to draw like a snake body, there's some artists that do this really well that I super admire. Alison Theus is one of them. She goes by the online name of Beast of Oblivion. Some of you've probably seen, if you've looked at creature art for any amount of time on the internet, you're probably familiar with her work. But the way that she draws the musculature in snakes, I think she has pet snakes and studies them a lot. Like, you can tell it's there's just a lot going on there. So if you're looking for like a cool way to incorporate snake musculature, I don't think you could do a whole lot better than to see how, like, obviously draw from reference, but then look at how other people interpret things, like everyone has their own way of interpreting. Kind of like we talked about earlier, it's possible that the people who first drew Western dragons were inspired by, artists from the East, for example. All right. Body shape and pose. Oh, thanks. I'm glad you like it. Just inspired by history. I am going to slide it over a little bit so I have a little more room. Okay. It's a pretty classic little flying dragon. The question for me on these is always where to put the feet. So it's like, do I put them up here? Like a little high. Look at these little feet. Do I put them up here? Or do I put them here? I was kind of leaning this way and then maybe this one back here. But then I'm always like, is that enough room for the tail? What do I do? Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Yeah, I think maybe there. I mean, it does say the neck of a serpent, so if the neck is super snaky, I think that's okay. I think I made the mane go a little too far down. There we go. Tell me about somebody. Another 90s classic here. I'm just not sure where to make the fur fade. Hold on, I gotta think about this for a second. Let's see. I just didn't do the neck. I'll draw the snake part a little bit better. There's a musculature curve here that's kind of throwing me off. So that's where the muscles would be for our snaky friend. There's the shoulder muscle. That's where the stomach would be. I'm gonna give some slight ribbing just because there is, a shoulder blade here on this creature. This little creature here. I'm trying to stick with the prompt. Well, I guess it did say the paws of a tiger. It didn't really describe how the arms are, so I guess I can do whatever I want with the arms. It doesn't have to be lizardy. Okay, so there's that muscle, there's that muscle. This is the spine, kind of curving toward the viewer, then away. Just talking through what I'm thinking of as I'm making these decisions. So, if you're new to designing things, the more you can think about what the actual anatomy would be doing, the more it's going to look believable, I guess, if believability is your goal. All right, let's say that the hair comes out right there. Something like that, I suppose. And of course I can't forget the long whiskers. I'm gonna make those come out right here. They always seem to just have two. Okay, let me catch up on chat here. Hey, Mei Xing, how's it going? Sorry, I'm like way behind. Oh shoot, I'm like way behind on his camel smoking a camel. Ah, sorry, you've been in here for a minute and I just totally got involved in what I was doing. Happens sometimes. Let me scroll up on chat for a minute. I'm sure I will find it useful. Yes, thank you, Lagamcore, for posting that ref. I'll be looking at it after stream. So I have kind of a day of like intermittent studying ahead because I'm trying to prepare for. I would like to do a wood dragon tomorrow, so I'm trying to plan ahead for that after tomorrow's stream, just because it's the year of the wood dragon. So we'll see if I can figure out how to do wood texture. But metal would be great to know too. I do have texture studies on my list of things to do for these warm-up streams, so they're coming. Hope you guys are ready. Struggling over here. No, don't struggle, Amaze. Share your struggles. We will help you. Wings like sails could also just mean big. Exactly. And membrane wings are thin, adding to the sail. For sure. No, that's exactly, I think, what it is. It sounds kind of cool, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah. Pandas, both giant and red. Okay, so they're the ones that have the fake thumb that I was thinking of. Nice. Do you also sneeze face? Yes, I do. I sneeze. I have to. That's how I get them out. You know. It kept not coming out, so I had to stare at my lamp right here. Mei Xing, how are you doing, by the way? How's your day? Thanks for joining. Thanks. Yeah, we're studying. I'll show you the Western dragon. We looked at. Oops, that was my chat. We looked at. We're looking at dragons of the East and the West. So here's all of our references that we were looking at. Let me kind of. Here's our Eastern references. We've looked at like the classical. I posted these in Discord as well. But we looked at like the classical depiction or description of an Eastern dragon, looked at some art history, picked up some references from those animals, and then looked at some modern reinterpretations of what it means to be an Eastern dragon. And then that's what I'm working on right now is my little interpretation here. And then we also looked at Western dragons. So here's our references for those. I read this really difficult to read poem from the 1500s. Talked about the pieces we knew from that. Lots of St. George and the Dragon. And then here's some, oh sorry, my sketch is kind of in the way here. Yeah, but looked at like heraldic symbolism and kind of like some common features. Looked at some modern Western dragons as well. Talked about how they changed. Talked about maybe possibly dinosaur influence. It's debated, but I think it's at least worth considering. And then here's the Western dragon we came up with, or at least that I came up with. I'm sure everyone's drawing something different. One of the descriptions in this was Flaggy Wings, which we all really liked, so I decided to name him Flaggy the Draggy. So that's his name. And there's a person for scale. So, how big do you guys think Eastern dragons tend to be? I also think of dragons in general just as big, but I guess like looking at like I think of them as like Shenlong big, you know, like where is it? Like this guy. Like I think of them as huge, like where people being small. But there's a lot of interpretations that really don't have them that like these two are like just a little bit taller than a person, you know? Same with this one. These aren't nearly as big. Like Mushu's obviously very small. So I'm curious what you guys think of. If anyone has like a size, they tend to think of a Western or an Eastern dragon being. So anyway, Mei Xing, that's kind of, and anyone else who just joined us, that's kind of what we're about right now. That is not helpful at all. Oh, there it is. Okay. Okay. Southeast Asian dragons are really flamboyant, yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of color. Eastern dragons are super colorful. Camel smoking a camel. It is big, yeah. East, we're mostly, let's see, Chinese myths created from rivers or something. Yeah. Each major Chinese river has a guardian. Yeah, I think that's what they were getting at with Spirited Away. I didn't know that, but that's really cool. Yeah, the camel head does explain that really soft, like, mammalian kind of nose, for sure. Associated with rivers and being great, yeah. Into flooding. Flooding was a major issue. Oh, interesting. That makes sense, though. It totally checks out. Yeah, thank you for the shout out, Amaze. Camels have a lot of attitude. Yeah, they do. That is some floof and some flood. Yeah. Watch the video from Zoom. Pull the handfuls of fur from back. Oh my gosh, I bet. Yeah, that's true. That's a good point, Charlie's Dragon. The different animals could represent different parts of its character, right? The attitude of a camel, the tiger representing courage, so the paw shows the courage, and the strength. I think of strength when I think of those big cats, too. I like the first position, yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. It's like a snake in a crock. It's turning. Oh, thank you. Looks like an old dragon with a lot of attitude. Yeah. It's related to koi. Koi turn. Oh, interesting. We have a phrase that says "jumping koi into Dragon's Gate." Oh, that's cool. Meishing, yeah, that's true. That's true. Meishing could definitely fill us in. We were looking at. I don't know if you've got a good look at the references that we were looking at. I just pulled some art of dragons from the East, right? So we got our Chinese dragons, but also some from like Persia. So these are Persian dragons. Which I just thought was really interesting how similar and yet different that they were. But yeah, the colors for sure are really, really fun. Some classic art, some really, this was like a really old sculpture that I found of a dragon. I forget where it was from exactly, but yeah, if you have any light you'd like to shine. I love all those parallels of like water and fish. I don't actually know, where are you from, Meishing? If I can ask that. I know that you have a lot more insight into this than I do, but I've never actually asked. If it's not okay to ask, please don't feel like you have to share. I'm just being nosy and curious. We have a phrase. Let me catch up. Stretch my wrists. Yep. Got snowed in. Oh no, I was snowed in a lot last month. I feel your pain. I never looked into Persia ones. But yeah, they are really cool, aren't they? I wish I had more time to research last night. I just kind of pulled the first few that I found. But I know that there's a lot of Persian like sculpture, especially of like dragons, and there's some early drawings like Tiamat, I think, is the Persian. Let me see. And there's different depictions of Tiamat. Actually, they talked about Tiamat in this book that I was pulling out earlier. We did show and tell earlier, Meishing, so I read some stuff from the books. Yeah, it's a Mesopotamian dragon, but like you see a lot of it, like it's hard to find good references with a quick Google search, right? Because so many of these creatures have been turned into like Dungeons and Dragons creatures, or like video game, bosses and stuff. And so a lot of the art you see is like not super closely related to the original like depictions. And so I was trying to find some more historic stuff. But yeah, it was kind of tough. Oh, sorry, there was a ad that whole time, so sorry if anyone just couldn't see what I was too into talking about Persia. Being snowed in is not, yeah, it's had to dig out. Ugh. Yeah, I'm still walking through snow to get to my studio, and it's been melting for like 3 days. We had 2 blizzards we had a blizzard last weekend, and then a blizzard on Friday. Blizzard, it's like more than 8 inches of snow. So we got 9 this past weekend, but the weekend before we got like 16. And so it's like that had never quite melted all the way, and then like the 9 inches got added. Like the roads are fine, but anytime you need to do anything that's not on a road, it's like it hasn't melted off of everything yet. You do, yeah. Who doesn't love dragons, right? You got snow today as well. Yeah. I hope you're doing okay in the dark and the cold. I don't like thinking about you in the dark and the cold. Oh, thank you for that. Thank you for that gift sub, Charlie's Dragon. That's so nice of you. Oh, Charlie, thank you. I really appreciate that. And enjoy your ad-free viewing experience, Lagum Core, for a little bit. That is so nice. That's so nice. And then yesterday, my sub goal thing went off, and I have no idea who subbed yesterday. I couldn't figure it out. It didn't show anything, but it went up from it went up to 7, but I didn't see anything in chat. So whoever anonymously subscribed to something, it could also just be that it misread it from YouTube. I think I have it connected somehow. Maybe that happened. I don't know. But anyway, I appreciate the sub of whatever kind. It's nice. I'll try and get some more sub emotes for you guys soon. I'm gonna redo some of those. I always picture a full-size Eastern dragon to be big enough to recline across an entire mountain range. Oh man, Amaze coming in with the big dragons. Yeah, wow, that is big. Often represent emperors and officials. Okay, Chinese emperors associate themselves with. Ah, that's right. I had heard that before. There's a lot of cultures that do that. That's like the representation. Strength or even sneakiness could be a tiger. That's true. They are ambush hunters. Good number of Western film adaptations kind of did not understand it. Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure that's really frustrating for you. The old school one almost looks like Kirin. Chinese from Taiwan. Oh, wow. That's really interesting. Well, thank you for your insight. If you have anything you want to add, I, of course, would appreciate that. I always like learning new things, especially... It's one thing to read about stuff, but, you know, if someone has a lived experience, there's a lot more wealth of knowledge to that. Just get hit by 5 ads? Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah, well, I'm glad you have a sub now. You don't have to worry about that. I was having ad issues yesterday, too. Does anybody understand how the Twitch ad thing works? I have it set up to where it's only supposed to do a 1-minute ad, like, twice an hour or something. Like, it's like the lowest possible ad ratio. And yet I keep getting ad alerts that are like yesterday there was a 5-minute ad break. And then like a few minutes later there was a 1-minute ad break. Is there like, have I skipped ads so much that there's just like a waterfall of ads that still need to come out? Is that how it's working? Show and tell, very educational, yeah. Saw one Japanese adaptation look more like a large worm. Huh. Oh, I'm sorry about that. Yeah, I don't know why it's doing that. If anybody can fill me in on why it does that, even though my settings are not to do that, I would love to know. I just don't understand. I'm still so new at Twitch and understanding how it works. Your dragon's gifts. Dragons are so large. Okay. So how, I don't know how long they're supposed to be, or how big they're supposed to be. You just like making them big. I do too. One of these days I'll show you guys the old dragon comic I made in like 7th grade. They're massive. Like I've always thought of them as huge. I never really thought of them as small. I feel like they did increase it, Meishing. Okay, so Meishing, you're having the same issue. Yeah, I don't understand it. It's so weird. Dragon gifted me remedy of the commercial. Yes, Charlie's dragon gave you a gift from the dragon themselves. Thank you, Charlie. That was so kind. Okay, so it's not just me. It's just Twitch being stupid. Some streamers just play all the ads in one go. Yeah, I don't have it set up to do that, though. That's like, why give me the facade of control if I don't actually have control over when the ads play? Because to me, like a 1-minute ad, like every half hour, that's not like the biggest deal. Like that should be okay. But I don't want somebody sitting through 5 minutes of ads. Like that's too much. Like I would walk away from that. Like that's not helping anyone, you know? Like I don't want that. Anyway. To be honest, for like 2 years I've not gotten any ads on my iPad. That's weird. Yeah, maybe it's just a glitch. I'll have to look into it. So maybe there's something I can do to change the settings. It's intentional. They want to play. I know. They're the largest character. Yeah, they're fun. Okay, I'm all caught up. Let's finish this Eastern Dragon. I might color one of these. I'm not sure. Let me know which one you think I should color as I finish. I'll show you guys the Western one as well. It's 11:30. Ah, okay. You know what? This is my only stream today, so I'm okay if my warm-up streams on Tuesday go a little bit longer, since I won't be back on later. Okay, so I'm thinking about the anatomy that we've talked about multiple times, guys. We got our shoulder, deltoid. Like here's the shoulder blade. Here's the deltoid part, the shoulder nub. I don't know, the ball socket part of the shoulder, not the blade. Rotator cuff, maybe. here's our forearm, our upper arm, forearm. So for anybody who is trying to get better at figuring out how to draw stuff, just remember, keep your anatomy in mind, and if you don't have it memorized yet, if you still need help with that, go pull up an anatomical reference of a tiger's, a tiger's arm, tiger's legs. That's kind of what I'm thinking of right here. I am shortening it, but the same basic features are there for all critters. All right, so we got our cat foot with our big talons here. Boop. And remember, I'm just sticking to that classical interpretation of what an Eastern dragon would look like. They're both, I think they're all very cool. There's a little bit of a tangent here, though, with this tail, so let's fix that. For those who don't know, a tangent, other than when I rant, obviously that's one type of tangent, but a tangent in art is when you have two lines that kind of mess up the perspective. Like, because the tail is so close to the foot, you see this a lot in photography, right? Like, people will like hold up their hand under the moon and make it look like they're holding the moon in their hand. Like, that is a tangent. They're taking advantage of that. They may not realize it, but that's what they're doing. So when you have two lines that come too close together, now it looks like either he's stepping on his tail, or you're having a hard time figuring out which one's in the front, which one's in the back. So these are things you kind of want to avoid when you're drawing. They sneak up on you if you're not paying attention. So watch out for tangents. I'm just going to move the tail. I think that's the easiest thing I can do, and also it gives me a little more flexibility with his arm pose. So let's play with some different tail poses here. Do that also. That might cause other tangents. Let's see, I might have to move where I put that leg too. I kind of like the other one, but that's okay. Now it'll just look like he's flying around a little bit more. Speaking of tangents. Now, since I have room, I am going to drop his paw a bit. And I kind of like the idea, just because it said the talons of an eagle, I like the idea of doing scaled toes a little bit on these tiger paws. I don't know, it's just kind of a fun little extra detail maybe. I should curve it up more. Hold on, I'm not super happy with that pose yet. Oh, thank you, Meishing. I'm glad you like him. It's fun to kind of go back to the roots of something, right? Like I learned that today. Oh shoot! I just realized I have a problem here. But I learned that there are poison barbs on the tails of Western dragons, and I did not know that before today. I've changed up his anatomy so many times I lost track of where anything was supposed to go. So I don't need that anymore because he's not turning that way. There we go. Keep his back fur going the way it's supposed to here. Maybe that's why I didn't like it. Right. So maybe we'll do a tummy view instead. And have his foot up here, perhaps. So we got tummy, Little underfoot pose. See the bottom of his toes a bit. I do kind of want to see the back part of his body, though. Hold on, I gotta figure out this anatomy really fast. So if the hips are here, pretend those are hip bones, guys. And then we have our tailbone right here. Do-do-do-do-do. Just make them extra long. So long! Okay, so then we have the knee, the ankle. There we go. That's more what I want. Boop, boop. Boop. I'm going to draw that so that I remember. I will fluff it up in a moment, but for right now, this is going to help me remember how I want to do this. Okay. Anatomy is your friend, people. It's going to improve your work. I think I made his tail just a tad too long. Maybe there. Even though I like taking up the whole page, I don't think it makes a ton of sense. Hey, you guys want some mbop in your life? Because that's what's playing right now, if you didn't notice. Alright, now we can add the fun back fur and make it go down the middle here. And this will help follow the line of the spine, give it some body, as it were. I guess I could make his whole tail just fluffy. Alright. Definitely can't hit that note right now. The poor voice. I think I'm actually going to have to go see a voice therapist to get my voice back. Made an appointment in April. So the appointments have again begun. Hopefully it won't mess up my streams too much, but there may be a few warm-up streams where I have to move them or either change the time or even cancel, depending on what my schedule will be. But for right now, I'm going to keep doing these in the morning on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, so if anyone's around and wants to hang out during those times, that's when I tend to do these. For anyone who is kind of maybe new or lurking and like what's going on, just know that normally we work a little more from reference during these. It's a little more study. But today we decided to, or at least I decided, I guess. I don't want to make you all culpable for my decisions, right? But yeah, it's Dragon Week, so we're kind of looking at historical dragons and drawing inspiration from that. Tomorrow's warm-up is going to be design your own dragon. So like use everything we've learned and talked about over the last week and a half, I guess. We were studying like wings and scales and all kinds of things last week. You can go watch those VODs if you would like to kind of catch you up. But tomorrow we're going to use like whatever inspiration you want. You can go look at like artists you like who draw a lot of dragons. See how they're handling and answering the questions about anatomy and like, you know, what details are they adding? What are they drawing for? Like, see if you can pick out what animals they're using to draw from. And then kind of run with it on your own, you know? It's the fun part of creature design. That's why I can't seem to stop drawing them. It's just like you get to experiment and do whatever you want all the time. Admire nature. It's basically what creature design is. Oh, there's another little tangent right there. Look at that. Narrowly avoided. Alright, watch out for those tangents. They'll get you, both verbally and artistically. Alright, so we have our spine coming this way. I'm going to make it look like that. So here is the bottom of the tail. We're going to start to see some underbelly there. I know I'm definitely going to pull up some dragon artists that I admire and look at those later today to kind of get some inspo. Of course, if you heavily reference from an artist's work, just keep in mind that you do need to credit that person if you post that socially, like somewhere. If you are, I would recommend staying away from using other artists' work as reference as much as possible. Inspiration is one thing, right? Like I can look at, kind of like what we did earlier. Like I looked at these for inspiration, for like ideas, but I'm not directly drawing from them like we have been with our references. So just when you're using the work of an existing, especially a living artist, just keep in mind that you do need to, give credit where it's due if you heavily reference something. And by heavily, I mean like use a pose from them, or like copy a face feature, or the way that they draw something. Like if you're using it the way we've been using photo reference, I would not, like, please don't post that online and say, look what I did. Say, hey, I loved the way this artist drew this, so I used that piece. But really, really want to discourage people from like drawing from artists like directly, like one-to-one. Like it's fine if you're doing that as like a personal study, just maybe don't share that online. Like it's okay to study that way and then come up with your own thing. I really want us to come up with our own things tomorrow, so this isn't going to be like a typical warm-up stream tomorrow. Inspiration is fine, like direct copying. Basically, short version of this is inspiration's good, copying is bad, right? So we're not trying to copy anybody tomorrow. We're not just studying things from nature. It's one thing, like I said, to oh shoot, I messed up the anatomy here. Hold on. It's one thing to draw from nature, but it's another thing to copy a living artist. So just keep that in mind. Be respectful. I know you guys will be, but I'm just throwing that out there for anybody maybe watching the VOD, or somebody who might be new to art and to kind of like the norms of all of that. If you've been drawing online for a long time, it may seem obvious, but think back to when you first got involved, when you were younger, maybe. Maybe you just weren't aware of the faux pas, as it were. Okay, I think I'm done with this guy. Oh. Who's this, guys? Talked about it yesterday. What did I say? I told you it was coming. Hilarious. Totally forgot. There's that boy band, yep. Can you name that boy band, though? Come on. There's really only 2 options during this time, so you have a 50-50 chance. Without Googling, can you name that boy band? Oh shoot, I forgot I have the now playing list. My own game is spoiled. Down below chat, you can see on screen I did add a now playing. I don't know, Amaze. I don't know how into boy bands you were in the 90s. I don't even know how old you were in the 90s. You're probably like 2. Alright, let's see. Some dictionary or bit publication chose it as word of the year. Wait, chose what as word of the year? What? Going into lurk mode. Hey, yeah, no worries. Creates distracting elements. I think I lost the plot here. Oh wait, that's actually a word? That doesn't seem like a word. It's a good term for something that happens a lot, yeah. We'll start training again when I can watch. Oh, and yeah, no worries, no pressure. Finally home, yes, you made it home. I'm glad you're safe. I'm glad you're not in the dark. Design an Eastern dragon with koi fish scales. Ooh, that'd be fun. Yeah, I'd love to see it if you come up with something cool. Backstreet Boys, come on. In the late 90s, it wasn't a matter of being into. That's true. You would just hear it anywhere. That's true. Is this like when they added ain't to the dictionary? Like when you take a colloquial, like at what point does this like a term that culture invents in the zeitgeist become a word? Like is there like a certain turning point where it's like, okay, this is being used so ubiquitously that we just it's just a word now, like it's not going anywhere? Is there like I wonder if it's like a certain amount of time it has to be in use. Or are there any? Or is it just like whoever's in charge of the dictionary and thinks it's funny does a thing? Like, just realized his head was like way smaller than his body. Okay. I guess I could have made his legs smaller. Oh well, here's our fluffy friend. I don't have a name for him, but he exists. I think I'm gonna actually have his have his fur trail off right here and just have this be like a little whiplash sort of a tail. And then maybe the end of it can kind of come back a little like an ox, you know? Ooh, here's that 2000s punk again. Oh, the past. I kind of wanted to make it look like he was like flicking his tail, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure that's really coming across here. Oh well. Work sucks. I know. Wow, profound lyrics, Blink 182. You really got me thinking on that one. Alright. I still don't even know what they're talking about. Alright, whatever. I'm getting too involved in the tail here. Okay. Add some scales. Imply texture here. We gotta have that flesh of the carp, right? Scales of the carp, or whatever they said. Little scaly critter. Whole way down, we'll say. I like the idea that they are. It's kind of cool that they're associated with rivers. I didn't realize that was a more common cultural thing. It's really cool. It makes sense too, because I mean, you know, they're very. The serpentine body type is very fluid. You know, it's very in motion. And hopefully that's enough scale implication there. I don't really want to draw a bunch of scales. His other foot's over there somewhere. We'll just remember that. Okay, now, which one to color? His talons. There we go. Ah, almost threw my pen again. Okay, here's our Eastern. Oh, I haven't saved this whole time. Hold on. Nope, not JPEG. Nope. We gotta make sure we save. Ooh, that would have been a bad time, guys, if my computer had decided to crash. Save. Yes. Yes. Okay. So, the big question. Should I draw Flaggy the Draggy or color Flaggy the Draggy? I drew this one so much bigger than the other one. Or should I color the Eastern? Which one would you guys like to see? Or is there a preference? Let me zoom in on Flaggy. I might make him a little bigger if I do color him. Oh, he's so much more sketchy too. Didn't realize I had sketched him so heavily. Maybe I should just do the Eastern one just because he's less sketchy. Still not sure about those wings, to be honest. I do like his little feet though. All right, Eastern Dragon. Eastern one's fluffy and soft. Yeah, I'm kind of leaning toward that one as well. It's also just less. I didn't realize how sketchy I had left Flaggy. Poor Flaggy. I'll fix you up one day, Flaggy. Maybe. Maybe not. We'll see. We'll see, Flaggy. Don't hold your breath. Don't hold your fire breath. Sometimes I get distracted. All right, we'll do the Eastern Dragon. It's definitely more finished looking anyway. All right, now we get to pick color. Oh, let's play How Many Holes Did Casey Leave in the Line Art? Oh, I already see some. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Because this is also pretty sketchy. Just want to color something easily for once. I'm gonna guess all the holes. Just sketchy enough, maybe? There's always holes in the hair. I never close the hair. So bad. So bad at this art thing. Okay. Did I get most of them? No. There's like a million in the hair. Jeez Louise. It's all in the name of making the coloring process go a little faster, but I don't know if I'll be able to do it. The holes in the horns. I need to zoom in. Boop. Oh my gosh, like every single one. More of that 2000s rock, guys. I just remember hearing this song on a Dragon Ball Z music video. It's like it was my first exposure to so much music was like DBZ AMVs. So sad and funny at the same time. Hey, Septic, how's it going? Justice for Flaggy. Poor Flaggy. Okay, let's see if I, one day, Flaggy, one day your flag will rise. Your time will come. You and your flaggy wings. I do like that description still. I want to make maybe I'll make a webcomic called Flaggy Wings. Seems like it should, oh dang it, it's so bad, you guys. Look how many places there could be oh, wait, is that one? How do I deselect? I forgot. There we go. Shoot! Maybe this might just be too much effort. At this point I should probably just color it by hand. I was trying to make my color fill a little easier. See if I can find it. Do I see a hole? Do I see a hole? It's probably in the hair up top still. Sure, it's somewhere up there. Hole, 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 hole. No? Yes? No? Maybe? No? Where are you? If anyone sees it, please tell me. Oh wait, I found it. What? I found like 5. Okay, hold on. Maybe this is the problem. I just didn't finish checking the hair. Oh, there's another one. Oh my gosh, why did I think that this was fine? There's one. Oh no, there's one. There's one. Wait, can't even tell, there's so much hair. Alright, there's one that I almost left open still. Teeth look okay. Oh, there's a little one right there. Oh, chin! Chin! The hole on your chinny chin chin, my friend. Oh, antler hole. Gosh, I am so bad at line art. Okay. I think that's all of them. Let's try again. Yay! I filled some of them in. Let's see how many I got. Oh, sweet. Almost. The tail's a little messed up, but that's okay. I'll fix that really fast. That's an easy fix. Whoop. Yay! Ease. Selection, invert. Perfect. Let's color this baby. I don't know what color. I kind of liked that red, like that Persian one we saw. I might play with that a little bit. I feel like I often see like watercolors, you know, like whites and blues and greens and stuff on these dragons, but I guess I should just fill it in. It's probably smarter. Just like coloring things, guys. Alright, color in the spots I missed, because there's a hole there, but that's okay. I'll just color this. Didn't get to color the dragon. Color in his little hairs. There's Mess up there. Messy, messy line art. But that's why I love you, Sai. Oh, that's another thing I did last night. I found my license and got the license for Sai set up on this computer, so I can keep using Sai, which is always exciting. Sorry. I apologize. It was bad. Thank you guys for tolerating me and my terrible sense of humor. Okay. That's more or less everything. Let's play with color. Color. Wait, I want more fluff. Needs more fluff. Now I could also take this line art into another program. Oh well. Just play. Let's play. Playtime. Okay. So we have, let's look at our reference again. So the colors on this little Persian dragon were like blues and yellows. So primary colors. I do like these leopard spots or whatever they've got going on. Are those like little, what are those? They're like almost like rosettes. I think they're like rosette, maybe like flowers though? It's very floral. It's a very floral dragon. Let's play with that. First, I'm going to make a new layer, keep that base red. That way we can only draw where there's already color, but it's not going to be on that red. So I can change the, like, I can make gradations and stuff on just the red, and then we can do patterns here. So we'll do that orangey, maybe that orangey yellow. Kind of like the idea of doing that wherever there's scales, kind of like a bird. So we got our eagle, maybe the underbelly part of the dragon. Just imply that it sort of disappears into the fur there. Do we want to do blue? I think I'm going to do blue fur. So I'm not sure what those blue ribbons are coming off, but I think I like the blue. It's very colorful. Kind of want to tone it down just a bit and do some of that like muted blue, I think. I don't know, we'll play. We're playing, guys, we're playing. Or I could do yellow. Do yellow for the under fur. I like the idea of that a little better. Blue upper fur. So very primary colors, beastie. Okay. Oh, hi! Dakaiju fanboy! How's it going? Found me in paleontologizing. Well, welcome. Happy to have you. I do draw dinosaurs, is what I'm trying to say sometimes. But a lot of what I do is creature design, so I hope that's okay. Hold on. Paleo artist creatures period. Oh, thank you. Well, I'm honored that you're watching at work. Thank you for joining. I don't know if you're still here, but sorry, I got really into the color decision-making part of this. Thanks for popping in. How's your day going? How's work going? Let me catch up too. I think I missed. Imagine the tail twitching like an annoyed cat for sure. You couldn't escape him. Yeah, that's true. It's nostalgia for me. I don't listen to him too much, but let's see. Septic just conquered procrastinating studying. Nice. Dine on some noms. Well, I hope you enjoy your noms. Thank you for popping in. Sounds like the name of a children's graphic novel. What, Flaggy Wings? I know, right? I kind of like it. I might do something with that. We'll see. I do have a... Well, anyway. I'm not going to talk about that right now. I thought it was The Offspring. Oh, was it? I thought it was Blink-182. It might have been The Offspring. I don't remember. It's been so long since it played, I don't even remember. Anyway. Dragons are among my favorite creatures. Hey, well, you're in a good spot. It's Dragon Week, if you didn't know. So happy Dragon Week. We're celebrating by doing a lot of dragon design stuff. We have been, if you want to watch some previous streams, so I do warm-up streams in the mornings. It's kind of a new thing I've started this year. They've been really fun, really helpful for me anyway. But this last week or two, we've done dragon-themed ones. So like stuff to prepare us for creature design. So last week we did like study of scales. Yesterday we did teeth and eyes. Just looked at like different animals in nature with different like cool teeth. Did not have nearly the time I wanted to look at some stuff, but we did wings last week. And then today we were studying, I can show you what we looked at really fast actually. Today we were studying Eastern and Western dragons. So I'll just get rid of that. You can see my details, but anyway, yeah, we looked at like a kind of like traditional depictions of dragons in the East. So here's some from like China and Eastern Asia, and then of course you have like the Western Asian, which is like Persian and some Mesopotamian cultures that had dragon folklore. And then here's like the bits of animals that supposedly go into an Eastern dragon according to some sources I found online. I have no idea if they're accurate, but head of a camel, eye of a hare, ear of an ox, antlers of a deer, neck of a serpent, paw of a tiger, talons of an eagle, scales of a carp, and long whiskers. And we also looked at like some pop culture Eastern dragons, right? Just kind of to see how other people have reinterpreted those things and kind of noting the different stylistic choices there, right? And then here is our Western dragon study. So I'm going to leave up the selection. But we looked at, here's my little Western dragon. We looked at, again, the classical art of Western dragons, a lot of medieval art, a lot of St. George and the Dragon. Found some really old stuff, and read this poem earlier. It was very difficult because there's a lot of older English being used, a lot of weird spellings of things, words that you don't typically hear these days. But I posted it in my Discord if you wanted to look at the, I don't know if you're in there, but anyway, you can watch the VOD and listen to me struggle through reading this at the beginning of stream. But one of the words we liked in here was, I'll read this part. His flaggy wings when forth he did display, or like two sails, in which the hollow wind is gathered full and worketh speedy way. We liked that. So, and then of course we found some descriptions in some other literature talking about what typically makes up a Western dragon: scales, bat wings, poisonous tail barb, typically fire breathing and hoarding. So yeah, that's pretty much what we did today. I'm kind of wrapping up here, coloring the Eastern dragon, but here's some of the pop culture Western dragons we looked at. Of course, Spyro, classic, my personal favorite dragon of all. Heraldic symbols as well. And that's how we came up with Flaggy the Draggy. Those flaggy wings, you gotta have them. But anyway, basically we learned some things about dragons today, and we're trying to use that to influence our design. Tomorrow is Design a Dragon Day. So I'm encouraging people who want to participate to go and look at dragon art. Get inspired, but don't copy. Maybe gather some references of artists that you like and whose style that you enjoy. And yeah, see if you can come up with a dragon tomorrow. I'm kind of pulling in the eye of the hare a little bit. I like the idea of having scales on these guys, but I also like the idea of just like being able to see some of the hair around the eye. I don't know. Maybe I'll do a blue eye, actually. Anyway, so that's what we're doing. That's what we're up to. How's your day, by the way? I hope it's well. Thanks for joining. I do lurk a lot on paleontologizing streams, so I am not surprised you saw me there. It's fun to have on in the background. Well, it's fun to attempt to have on in the background while I work. Last night I could not. It was so interesting, the conversation. I couldn't stop engaging. I had to finally just like turn it off and go home because I was too distracted. And today, oh my gosh, I think he said, so for anybody who isn't already following paleontologizing, you really should if you're interested in like science and fossils and dinosaurs and all that stuff. I think today he said he's talking about AI art, like for dinosaurs specifically, and I was like, I just don't think I can join it all. Like I won't be able to step away from that stream. if I do pop in, I'm going to try really hard just to see what he's looking at and just kind of like, reinforce my bias against AI imagery because, artists don't exactly love art theft, but, and then I'm going to try and not comment as much as possible. Although I am kind of curious to hear what the scientific community is thinking about all this, because I can't imagine it's positive. See, I'm already starting. I gotta stop. Anyway, hello. All that to say hello and welcome. But yes, we were talking about dragons and games. Amaze in chat is a big Monster Hunter fan. He's always showing us really cool designs from that game. All right. Yeah, always happy to hear who you guys are looking at for inspiration too. So if anyone has found a cool dragon artist or fantasy artist lately that they want to share some work from, I would love to see it. Feel free to drop it in chat. Or if you are an artist, I don't know if you draw Daikaiju, but I'm always curious to know what people are working on. So if anyone is an artist working on something currently and you want to drop that in chat, I'm sort of re-entering the Twitch scene. I streamed a lot back in the late 2018 through 2022. I think I did a lot more streaming, and I kind of really more 2016 through 18, I think, is maybe 19. I streamed a lot more, and my life got a little bit nuts and complicated, and I just didn't have time or energy left to do it. So I kind of tapered off through honestly, even through 2020. I don't think I streamed hardly at all. So I had a lot of stress going on in my life at that time, as we all did. But streaming was just too much. And then yeah, I think I kind of stopped in 2022. So my goal last year was to get back into streaming. So I started sticking to a schedule again, and that went okay. So this year I'm trying to just like plunge in a little deeper, into the Twitch world. So I'm always curious to know, all that to say, I'm curious to know who on Twitch is making art. Always looking for other artists here. So if anybody is drawing something or is an art streamer, please let us know. My goal this year is to kind of reinsert myself into the Twitch art community, like I had sort of started to do back in 2018 and 19 before my life exploded. So yeah, anyway. All right, we've got our basic colors in here. I think I'm mostly happy with that. I may change the blue. I'm not totally sold on the blue, to be honest. Maybe it's just the background throwing me off. I might change that background color. Hold on, let's see if I can I do that this way, or do I have to actually? Yeah, let's just change the background. It's not showing me a preview. What? Oh, it's because I have the selection, probably. Did my music stop? What's happening? So sorry, guys. I have no idea how long that's been off. I'll just desaturate it into more of a gray. We'll just do sky color. Okay. Yeah, I'm still not sold on the blue. It's okay. So funny. All right, we're gonna do an addition layer and do a little bit of cheating here. So I'm just adding a little bit of luminosity. Kind of want to, I like, you know, who doesn't like a good glowy thing, right? Of course, this is more of an overlay layer. See what the luminosity does to it. Oh, that's too much. Oof, way too much. We'll go back to overlay. I'll make a different layer for that. This is just kind of like a quick and easy way to add some gradation. A little bit of, you know, digital art cheat maybe, but, you know, I don't care. It's fine. Judge me. Judge me, you internet people. Not you internet people, but whoever's judging me, who's not in stream right now. That's who I'm talking to. If you are new to digital art, though, definitely play with your layer styles. That's what this is. So I've just made just to walk anybody through who, I know I have a few people watching who are kind of new to digital art and looking for tips. So yeah, just go to your layer styles. Most art programs have them, I would say, these days. And play around. Just see what each one does. See what the effects make the product look like. If you don't like it, you can always take it off. You know, nothing's set in stone. It's a lot of fun. Gonna call the art police on me. I know some people, you know I'm not, you know who I'm talking about though, right guys? Like those of you who've done digital art, there's some elitists out there in the art community. We got a little bit of an issue sometimes. People tend to look down on artists. Not always, but there's some out there. You guys know what I mean. You know who I'm talking. You've all seen it. You know the art elitist I mean. Oh, I would never use a dodge layer. Ugh. I know how to do that without the layer effects. Like, okay, yeah, so do I, but it's a time saver, dude. Anyway. For those who are getting into digital art, just ignore those people. If you come across people like that, that's a good time to hit that mute button. And hit that block button on that website and just ignore the haters, as they say. Because that's silly. It's very silly. Alright. I do like the rosette thing. I think I'm going to incorporate that a little bit and do some like darker blue spotting. I just want to tie this blue in a little more. I'm not loving how it just stands out too much to me. But what I'm doing right now, just to walk through anybody who's like, what are you doing? Why are you making these decisions? If anyone is out there watching and curious. I'm just applying shine by, again, I'm just in the overlay layer. I'm just kind of making mental notes for myself of like where I want shine to be. I'm actually going to probably go back in on the base layer and do a little bit of gradient stuff. May do actually let's do some shading before I get too involved. One thing I like to use overlays for, and overlay layers are interesting. I don't know if those of you who do more digital art, I don't know if you've noticed this as well, but they seem to work differently in every program, right? Like they don't always operate the same way. So like sometimes I use them for shading, but like in this program, like in Psy, I don't really love the way it's doing it. This is okay. This is okay. But again, like it's not even overlapping with the other overlay layer the same way I would expect it to, as it would in some other programs that I'm more familiar with. So yeah, like Clip Studio Paint, I've been trying to get used to how it does overlays. It's very different than Photoshop, which is the overlay system I'm probably the most used to. And so sometimes I get frustrated because like I just want this to work the way I need it to work, you know. I just want to quickly put in the effect that I know how to do in this other program, but I'm learning. It's always a learning process, right? But so overlays, a lot of times it's kind of, what it's doing is it's overlaying that color, but it lends itself to like some lighting effects, basically. It's a fun way to change the overall tone of something. Like if I wanted this whole image to be a little more just red overall, I could go to my overlay layer, select a red, just like a middle tone red maybe, and I could just tone the entire thing Like even the hair, I can make everything have more of a reddish tone. Do you see that? So it's a good way to like change the, like, you see it a lot in like environmental. It's like it's a good way to change environmental stuff. And you can change the opacity, right? Like it doesn't have to be that like stark red. So I could just, if I just wanted like a hint of reddishness, like it's a slight hint, but you can see the difference. Like it still looks blue and yellow and red, but now everything is more unified because I've used that red overlay to kind of red up all the things that aren't super red. Just a smidge, you know, just kind of, it's a good way to unify designs that have really wild color differences as a quick overlay layer. So if you've ever seen that and you've wondered what that means, there it goes. There's the full strength overlay. And like depending on the type of red you use, like I could make it even more red in some spots, right? Like if I wanted to emphasize the feet, or if I wanted it to look kind of shiny, I can use more of a pink right here and just kind of do a reddish gleam over everything. So they're fun layers to play with. Definitely recommend it if you haven't played with them much. And of course your blur tool or your blend tool or your smudge tool or whatever is always your friend. Don't forget to use it. That's just a little too neon for me, so I'm going to back out of that, but that was just a quick little demonstration. Right now I'm using a purple to shade, like a purple overlay to do a little bit of shadow. I like to use color for my shadow. Sometimes it's more of a muted color, like I think I picked a kind of a grayed out purple. But again, depending on your type of overlay, it can cause very different effects. So if I go darker, it's like super dark. Don't know if I want that. Let's blur that in and see how that looks. Again, I'm not super used to paint tool size overlay styles, so you know, all of this stuff takes time to get used to. But anyway, that's what's up. So let's do some rosettes, maybe. I'm still not sure about the shadow layer. Unify it just a little bit. Don't want to put shadows in just one place because that's not going to help me make a good decision about it. Think about your light sources, guys. Always think about your light sources. Getting a little messy. Can always go back and clean it up. There we go. Problem is I've totally lost where I put, oh, there it is. Too many layers. But another good one for glowing effects is also a luminosity layer or an addition layer. A lot of effects already. I'm getting a little caught up in them. Especially if you put it over the line art, right? It's kind of a fun little trick. You can make the tips of things look like they glow or kind of add some of that magical effect. So if you're trying to do that, sometimes it can be a little much. Like that's probably a little much, but I don't know. I'm easy. I think this kind of stuff is fun. So I can check it, taking off my selection. It's messy, but it's not terrible. I'm not looking to have something super refined though, so I'm okay with it. Let's do those rosettes now. So I'm actually gonna go, this is something I always have to tell myself because I even have a command for this to check my layers because I'm like always on the wrong layer. I am gonna go back to my original layer here. My little red base layer, so you can see some of those colors I was picking if I get rid of that. Actually, where did I put that? Shoot, speaking of being on the wrong layer, yep, so I did a little bit of red on this color patch layer. It's kind of fun looking at it though. Anyway, layers are fun, guys. I'm gonna actually keep that. Just very slight red. Maybe even less. Okay. So let's do are rosettes. And the reason I'm going back to this original color layer is one, it's a flat color, so I can select the whole thing and just know that my whole dragon here is selected. In this program, this is what that looks like. But it's also going to keep me coloring on the correct layer. So let's pick like a dark bluish purple and just experiment a little bit. So I'm drawing a lot of inspiration from this Persian dragon here. I am going to change it up. I do want to do little bluish circles maybe, but I'm not sure how blue yet. So that's the experimentation part. It's like I could do like a purple. And I am doing this on its own layer just in case I don't end up liking it. I can always take it back. Don't want to have it below too many things. So I'm moving it up above this color flat layer, because I have two color flat layers. I've got the base red and then the blue and the yellow. So we're going to move it above that so that I can color on top of all of that and just kind of, you know, I could even do it here if I wanted to. Oops, stretch the wrist, stretch the wrist. Been watching Hercules: The Legendary Journey. I've not heard of that. Is that a new show? Or is it the old Hercules? I think I missed something. Always wondered what those wispy things in Eastern mythology creatures are. Sometimes they look like smoke, other times like... Yeah, I don't know. I imagine it's like clouds, maybe? Could be possible, you know, like they're breaking through clouds. But yeah, you see it on a lot of them. I have no idea. Exciting! Yes, Charlie's dragon. Thank you, thank you. Dragons are among my favorite creatures. Smog in particular is one I'm fond of. Yeah, for sure. Oh my gosh, the Rankin and Bass Smog. Has everyone in chat seen that before? I'm gonna pull that up in a second. Work is chill, been watching, okay, got that. Dragons in games. Dragons from Sega's Panzer Dragoon series. I don't know that one. Have a really unique sci-fi blend. Huh. I'll have to look that up. Also, thank you for sticking through the ads, although I guess you're in an ad probably, so you maybe didn't hear that, but we were having ad issues earlier. This one says it's just a 1-minute ad break, so hopefully it doesn't put anyone through anything horrible. Sega Panzer. I'm gonna hold up. Let's look up Rankin and Bass Smog, because I do like that one. I actually was looking for that version when I pulled the Smog reference. Oops, my camera's doing that thing again. Pulled the Smog reference in on the other. Yeah, look at this Smog, you guys. It is so good. I don't even know which picture to show you. Ugh, this is so good. I love it. Yeah, this picture's better. Okay. Look at this Smog. Rankin and Bass did some really cool... Didn't they also do Last Unicorn? Or am I thinking of someone else? Maybe they didn't. But, like, I just love the... Yeah, it's just it's a very unique dragon design, I feel like. And it's so detailed. Like, just, I can't imagine having to animate this. So good. So good. Ugh. It's such a good special. If you guys haven't seen the Rankin and Bass Hobbit, it's great. It's, in my opinion, way better than the Hobbit movies. I'm not a big fan of the Hobbit movies, though, so... I know some people really... Like, every time I say that, people are like, yeah, most people don't like it, but then I feel like there's so many people who really love the Hobbit movies. They're not good. Like, they're so frustrating. Anyway. So yeah, Sega's Panzer Dragoon. I don't know what that is. I'm gonna take a little break here. It's almost 12:30, so I'm almost done. Yeah, I'm not familiar with this. These are almost like mech dragons. Oh, interesting. I do like that. Wow, this looks like really pretty advanced graphics for the Sega. Is anyone else familiar with this? So here's the cover art. It's actually really cool. I wonder who did this. It's very sci-fi. Love these little robot designs. Very cool. Very cool. Huh. I've never heard of that before. Thank you for sharing that. I appreciate that, Daikaiju. I'm gonna have to look at that more later. Huh. What the world is this? Okay, anyway. Just really random Google image search thing came back, and that is why I should never search on Google Images on stream. Like, on screen. Alright. You are back. Hey, Unlurked! Little dancy sheep. It is so cute. I'm sorry, I just have to look at this sheep for a little bit. It's really making me want to animate an emote. I might try to animate a little Reese emote. For those who don't know, Reese is the little dragon at the bottom corner of the stream. It's like over there. You see it? He's over there. He's sitting. He's hanging out. Like I want to animate his face splat maybe or something. Did you miss any dragons? I don't know when you left, but this is the Eastern dragon that we're working on. I'm almost done. I'm just kind of trying to play with some rosettes to kind of imitate the style of this Persian dragon down here. So yeah, I definitely pulled the colors pretty closely from this. We'll see. I don't know. I'm not wild about the rosettes yet, but I just started laying in circles, so it's not super far along. Is it a cheat or is it a technique? I mean, I would call it a technique. It's kind of like how you would use different brushes in oil paint. You know, is it a cheat to use use a toothbrush to like do splatter effects? Is it only painting if you just do the dots by hand? It's like, no, I can do that by hand, but I can save so much time by doing the little, you know, flicking of the paint. How dare you use the tools available in the program you draw in? I know. Sorry, I'm way behind on chat. But in the stream it's called Art Police. That's hilarious. How dare you? Oh, maybe I'll do an Art Police command. I have a whole list of commands I need to add. I still need to add my rant command. Been trying to be better about my rambles, so you guys don't need to use it. There are some Art Karens and some Art Kevins out there. Have we decided on what the male version of a Karen is? Is it Kevin? It's not Chad. Chad means a different thing, right? I don't know. I'm not very good on slang. I just pretend like I know what they mean half the time. Those elitists are usually novice artists who think that limiting themselves. It's true! Oh my gosh, that's such a good way to put it. Yeah, like I remember I was talking about that with somebody recently, actually, about referencing is cheating and color picking is cheating. Yeah. I mean, I do think there's some things using overlay is bad. I think it's good to challenge yourself to be able to not have to use those every once in a while, but there's nothing wrong with like color picking or definitely I think you should be using reference, frankly. I think it's almost you're limiting yourself more by not using reference because then you're only working from imagination and that's going to make it to where you can never improve, you know? The only way to improve is to draw from reference every once in a while. Whether that reference is like a loose study or a very exact study. We've talked about this like ad nauseum though for warm-ups. Yeah, but no, that's a great way to put it. They're usually novice artists who think that limiting themselves gives them bragging points. It's usually, I have a friend that was really affected by this in her art career, and she talked a lot about how it took her years to even be able to like learn how to work from reference because she was so used to this idea of like, oh, it's bad to use reference somehow because she got online very, very young. She was a really good artist at a very young age. I think a lot of times it is those artists who are just like, they're, you know, naturally skilled at an earlier age or, you know, whatever it is. Like they've just been drawing for so much earlier than so many people. I do think there is some kind of like, some people's brains might be more naturally inclined to be highly observational and to just be better at like creating a visual library from a young age. So, you know, like your art prodigies who are like 10 years old and drawing amazing things for a 10-year-old. She was one of those. And anyway, she got online early and that whole culture of just like, oh, I didn't use reference for this. Like that's somehow like, oh, give me praise for being a child prodigy, you know, kind of thing. It's a good way to put it. It tends to be, not always, but it tends to be the novice artists who think that not using reference means it's good. And it's an understandable leap to make, right? Because it is impressive that somebody at a young age especially can draw something from their imagination and it be so much better than somebody who hasn't been drawing as long, right? Like it is impressive, but I think it's just the wrong way to look at it. We should be encouraging people to improve, not to just stay stagnant. Anyway, yes, use tools available to you. I do like to challenge myself by not relying on the color picker, but I'm not like above using the color picker. I use it quite a lot. I do think it's a good visual practice to like be able to. There's a game. Have you guys ever played I Love Hue? It's a shoot. My phone's dead. I was gonna pull it up and show you. I guess I must have had something running. It's a color game. It's a free color game. It's on like the Play Store and whatever other stores there are. Oh, there it goes. Yeah, phone's mega dead. But anyway, I like to play it to actually like hone my ability to recognize color, especially when it's not. You know that trick, right? Everyone's seen this. It's like that visual. Shoot, I'm just gonna draw really fast. It's like that thing where you have like, oh, here's a bunch of grays, and here's a bunch of black, and here's a bunch of white or whatever. And then it's like, here's this color. And believe it or not, like this color is the same as this color, but because it's on a different background, it looks totally different. You know what I'm talking about. You guys have seen this before. It's something about the way our eyes work, how we associate colors and value. Usually I think it's actually a value, not a color. But it's like this gray right here is the same gray as this, believe it or not, you know, whatever. Anyway, that game, I Love Hue, I think it's really good at helping me to be able to focus on a color and kind of learn how to visually, like, I like to look at a color and be able, like, I think I can color select that on my own. And I like to challenge myself to see how close I can get, but I don't think that that's like, the only thing it's helpful with, I think, is for making quicker color decisions. I don't think it's like a bad thing to color pick by any means. Let me catch up on chat some more. I keep going on tangents. Here comes the Casey rant. It's all this caffeine. I do like the idea of the art police. I might do a command for art police. Or is that might be too passive aggressive. I don't want somebody using that and then somebody feeling self-conscious about being called out publicly. Never mind. I just think it's funny. I won't do it. Don't want anyone to feel called out. I want this to be a comfortable place, even for people who don't realize that they're being maybe a little judgy. We can just gently educate, you know. I'm all about gentle education. I try to give the benefit of doubt, you know. I find it makes me a happier person, if nothing else. It makes me less easily triggered. Yeah, exactly. Yep, when I was 11, I was proud of myself for not using guidelines when drawing faces. Yeah. No, I mean, I think most artists have been there. I think most of us have felt proud at a young age for doing something without needing a reference, but yeah, exactly, Charlie's Dragon. There's nothing wrong with being proud of yourself. You just don't want to you don't want to flip that corner of like looking down on people who aren't doing something the way you're doing it. Yeah, for sure. It's not reliable when it comes to even change of values. Yeah. Overlay adds contrast and saturation. Yeah, that's a better way to. I do. Yeah, multiply using a color on multiply is a little bit more universal for sure. It's literally. The best way I've explained a multiply layer, at least that I've found to explain it, is think of it like a transparency paper. In fact, if you're new to digital art, this is probably the easiest way to understand what a layer even is. It's literally just imagine that you're drawing on different transparent sheets. So you have one layer that you've just drawn lines on. It's like if you ever look at behind the scenes on animation, it's like the same concept. You've got your line art layer, and then if you took another transparent sheet and put it under that, you could do like color on that sheet and then it would be under. So you can like separately control the line art and separately control the color. And then like your value, maybe you took another transparent sheet and just did like a very transparent watercolor for shading, right? That would be like a multiply layer. So you can like adjust the opacity of each one of those layers independently. So if anyone's just super out of the loop on what any of this digital art terminology stuff even is, that's a way to think of it. Yeah, exactly. Oh, I think I stretched already, but I'm going to do that again anyway. I would say the one main digital art advice I would give is to avoid using pure, fully saturated colors as your base colors. Yes, agreed. Mainly because a lot of adjustment layers don't work well. That's true. That's a trap I fall into because I tend toward highly saturated. I mean, this is very saturated. Colors, a lot of that is early influence in animation, but I think it's also that I am trying to get into like the kidlit market. And they just really push for bright colors. Not always. Like, there's definitely plenty of books out there for kids that are, like, muted palettes, but I don't know. They're also just kind of fun. I tend to like it. Casey, it's okay not to like things. I don't even know what I said, but you're right, probably. That was them, yes. Yeah, I don't know. I lost it. Oh. You're talking about... you're talking about The Hobbit. Yeah, it's okay not to like things. Like, I don't know. I guess I just was so... I loved Lord of the Rings so much. I was so disappointed by The Hobbit movie. I think that was a lot of it. I think it was just trying too hard to be Lord of the Rings. And it was stretching a story that was literally this thick into 3 movies. I think that... Like, they just felt like there's so much filler in those movies. Just totally unnecessary everything. But anyway, now we're all cut up to chat, more or less, I think. This isn't Cheap Trick. Who was it? So, okay, I'm not gonna lie. Some of these might be wrong. Yeah, some of this music I got back in, like, high school. I've been carrying these MP3s around with me for a very long time. So some of them may or may not have come from Napster. Like, allegedly may have. I don't know. I don't know where the source was. But notoriously, early MP3s on the internet were not always labeled correctly, so who knows? It may not have been Cheap Trick. Chad is more like a college guy. Exactly. The remake has been out since 2020 for Oh, cool. I'll have to look. I've never heard of it. That's really neat, though. Slang term for Chad originated in Chicago. Oh. Young, upper-class, urban male. Yeah, I just think of it as like a bro, kind of a douchey bro, if I can use that word. Pardon my French. I try to keep this stream pretty clean. Color picking is, yeah, for sure. It speeds things up. I mean, it's their way of saying if I don't need assistance to... yeah, exactly. All right, I think I'm caught up. Multiply multiplies the value underneath it. It sure does. Actually trying to improve instead of coasting on their early start. Wait, hold on. I'd love to see them say that when their skills stagnate. Exactly. Yeah. Like when you don't use reference, like you can see it. There's so many artists online that I've kind of like fallen out of touch with, and I'll go back and I'll just get curious and go look. And just go be like, oh, I wonder what they're doing now. And like they're drawing the exact same stuff that they've been drawing for over a decade. And it's just like, I mean, if you're frustrated and you feel like you've stagnated, like, I have felt that way plenty of times, and it's like, all right, I got to go back to the basics. I need to start, like, looking at reference again and, you know, figuring all of that out. Anyway. Yeah, I don't like the way that overlay layer did the shades. I may have to lower that. It's making my little dots too dark. Speaking of how saturation is affected by overlays. Of course, I didn't blend any of it over here, but still. Alright, rant time over. I'm gonna finish these rosettes. I don't know how I feel about them still, to be honest. I've been doing too many. Splashdown, anybody? It was Letters to Cleo. They were doing a cover of Cheap Trick. Yeah, look, I'm sorry. Blame it on whoever named it on Napster. Yeah, it was from the 10 Things I Hate About You soundtrack. That's all I know. Alright, let's do some little rings around these guys and see how I feel about them after. Ooh, that's too white. I don't like that. Too dark. Hold on. We're gonna find a yellow that I like. There we go. I like this little heart-shaped one, so that one's just gonna stay that way. Maybe I'll make them all a little bit heart-shaped. It's Valentine's Day tomorrow. This can be our love dragon. The love dragon. Love dragon. Doo-doo. Doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. So we're gonna go out on this, guys. Alrighty. I am gonna, yeah, I'm looking forward to tomorrow. Like I said, I'll be doing a Design Dragon stream, so if anybody wants to come back in the morning for that, would love to have you. I will probably be trying to do some kind of a wood dragon. I have a few, we'll see if I turned into a full illustration or not. I have a few designs in mind. Definitely want to go look at some references later today. I should probably have made these hearts go with the flow of the scales, but oh well, it's too late now. I don't even know if those look like hearts, guys. Do those even look like hearts? Doo-doo-doo. Dee-dee-dee. This is so silly. Boop, boop. Boop. Boop, boop. Actually, quite a few of these look like hearts already. It's kind of funny. But yeah, all that to say, sorry, I'm trying to do my outro and draw at the same time. It's not working. I'm gonna head off as soon as I'm done with these hearts. This isn't totally finished, but that's okay. It doesn't have to be. It was just a warm-up sketch stream after all. I have to remind myself I have other things to do today. Hoping to get very ahead and then be super caught up for tomorrow, because I will not be able to stream as long tomorrow. I may actually start slightly early because I have an appointment in the evening, so I think I have to be off like at 6 p.m. so that I can go to that. So I may get on a bit early tomorrow. We'll see, we'll see. But that's my afternoon stream. In the morning it will still be at 10 a.m. as usual. Let's do another one down here. Just gonna draw a couple little hearts on the tail. So yeah, we will be designing a dragon. So bring whatever reference you would like from nature, from other artists, from history. Bring whatever inspires you. Bring a book. And let's go draw some dragons tomorrow. So, but for now, I am going to go find another art streamer to raid. Oh, you know what? I am gonna make these claws colorful. Hold on, it bothers me. My perfectionism strikes at inopportune times. Don't like the yellow claws. Yeah, I'm gonna go find an art streamer to read, and we'll see you guys tomorrow, hopefully. If you'd like to join my Discord, I do have a Discord. There's also a place in there where you can go and find the warm-up stream references and prompts and all that stuff. So thank you, Amaze, for popping those in chat. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for your excellent modding, as always. Yeah. Oh, gotta catch up on chat a bit. French artist Mobius was hired. Oh, that's why that looks familiar. I do know that artist. Very cool. Thank you so much for that recommendation. I love seeing new art that I haven't seen before. And being reminded of an artist I haven't thought about in a long time. Game was launch title for that console back in the 90s. Yeah, very cool, very cool. Yeah, please share your sketches. If anyone drew anything, there is a section, an art chat section for the warm-up chats, or for the warm-up streams. So if you make any art based off of anything we're talking about, I'd love to see it. No pressure, of course, if you're just practicing for yourself, but eventually I might turn that corner of the Discord into like an art game, like if I keep doing these warm-up streams all year. We'll see. If I'm still doing them in like May, I'll probably do that. But yeah, let's find another artist to raid. Oh, looks like Scully is on. That's the only option. So you know what? We're gonna go raid Scully. I don't have any other art friends on right now. Scully is a great creature designer. You guys should definitely hang out for a few minutes with her. She's really cool. Makes great work. But yeah, thank you guys for hanging out, and hopefully I will see you tomorrow. See you tomorrow morning at 10 for our Wednesday Design a Dragon stream. So let's go see what Scully's up to. It looks like she's making a really cool dragon. So it's very thematic. If you're into dragons, hang out with us.